Hello and welcome to podcast number 41.
41!
We're going to be catching up with the recent film and TV news before we go into our main discussion of the podcast, which is going to be comebacks. Comebacks within media. So we're talking film, television, and wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the third part of the podcast, we will be answering your questions. So first and foremost, welcome on back in, Ian and Andy. It's awesome to have you back. It's awesome to be podcasting again.
What has happened over the last few years, guys? I mean, we started.
We all became hermits, which was pretty amazing.
And then a pandemic happened.
Yeah. Dude, like, thank God it happened now and not, say, like, even 10 years ago when you still had to get Netflix through the post.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You know?
Could you imagine
like,
the cleaning of the...
Oh,
then again, I've not been too fussy with any of my Amazon packages that have come in. So.
That's true.
Yeah. Everyone's forgotten about actually checking the packages and wiping them down. It's now just as many Amazon vans on the street.
Well, I'm kind of glad to say it feels like we're getting past the hump of it, but and then shit happens again.
And then a variant.
Yeah.
Another variant.
So it like Red Letter Media even said it in one of the latest videos. We're still in 2020. It just hasn't ended yet.
Yeah, totally.
But
it's all that 2022 is going to be my year, and by about the 3rd of January, like, let's shoot for 2023, shall we?
Right.
No, it's been crazy. It does feel like we've kind of turned a corner, but it's so weird because it's worldwide. It's one of those where we feel at the minute like we're kind of turning a corner, but then there's other parts of like the world and, like, you know, the states are like state by state, as it were, you know, where some are still really high rates of infection and some places you can't travel to or from. It's still kind of nuts.
I've noticed it through mask wearing, because when it first happened, you know, like,
you're not supposed to wear it that high, dude.
People weren't wearing the mask, and people said it would be funny to wear it. Then you had to wear them all the time, and now it's starting to cut back. And like we said, it's becoming normal now. So now we're actually, the three of us are legally allowed to sit in a room, because otherwise, if we tried to do the podcast like 6 months ago, the police would have kicked in the door, we'd have been arrested. If we'd have pretended it was a garden party.
I was going to say, this is a work meeting, everyone.
Yeah, this is a work meeting.
I actually haven't looked at the rules for a while. So.
Yeah.
Oh, the rules change daily. That's the thing. Like, you don't go outside. I try to update you every now and again, but you just kind of go, no outside.
I feel with the mask thing though, it's like it's the perfect time because I always wear, because of the beard, I wear like one of the long sort of snooty things, so it's like something comes up
like
over
a windsock.
Yeah, basically. Just like I found it under the bed and ironed it out, it was fine. But I just find now if I'm out walking and stuff like that, I just put it on anyway, because I'm like, I'm nearly 40, this is just warm, this is just cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a fashion statement or anything, it's just like, this is just warm, I like this.
Nice. Well, there's one thing that all of us being in lockdown did actually give us was lots of films and TV that actually still went to streaming. I think on the last podcast we talked about how Warner Brothers were going to be releasing Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. King Kong, and so many other big movies that were just going to be going straight to streaming now because it'd been so long. And now we've gone, say I get past the hump, is because the mainstream media or film and television is kind of coming back. And a lot of
they're daring to release stuff in the theaters again,
and exclusively only. Even on Schlock. I don't want to bring up Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon Town again, but like Schlock like that is like exclusive in cinemas only, and it's almost like a gimmick.
Yeah.
Because so many people now, especially, just want to binge watch content.
There's a big one for Batman, right?
But Sony have thrown a lot of stuff at the cinema recently.
Ghostbusters was exclusive in there. Spider-Man exclusive
Welcome
in there.
to Raccoon City was Sony
as well, yeah. So
Sony are about to put their fucking wagons in a circle.
Yes.
Sony might be rethinking a few things. Like, in a minute. Oh my god.
So one of the main things that got me through some of the lockdown was The Witcher. Believe it or not, Witcher Season 1 was trending alongside Witcher Season 2, and that was because it was over a 2-year break between, because of everything, that everyone was literally rewatching the first season to then ready for the second. And I have to say, Witcher Season 2 was really, really good. total binge-worthy television. You can see that the budget has been increased. The scope of the show is increasing. The character development's really strong. The action scenes, the monsters, the portrayal. Now, there is some hoo-ha out there, really, about how they've gone against some of the books, or some of the some characters are dying where they shouldn't.
And weren't they just like Walking Dead did?
Almost
like
every adaptation.
I was going to say,
things,
I mean, I can't believe we're not used to this by now.
Exactly, yeah. But it's just fan reactions. I mean, especially on properties that are this big, you have your diehards, and they are loud when things get done. So I honestly didn't really mind the changes. I know. The producer of the show and Henry Cavill, they're really trying to make sure that they do it right.
Man, Henry Cavill was such a dick.
Why? Because he's so fucking. No, it's because he's so fucking perfect.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I have to be negative towards Henry Cavill.
Why? Because
we want it. Because you're not him.
Because I am not him. Man, that guy is like. Wow. He's a dick because he's such the coolest guy to fucking like he's Superman, and he wants to obviously do everything of The Witcher so close. When I say he's a dick, obviously I mean it in the funnest way, because this guy is so into Warhammer 40,000. The whole thing with Graham Norton, that interview, dude. I watched Graham Norton just get destroyed over the internet because of the way how he made.
He's got
Henry
a good fan following.
Dude, I think it's that thing where you like when you listen to. He's one of those people that when he talks, you listen to him, you're like, he's clearly just a fairly down to earth, nice guy, and you're like, oh, dude, can't you just be a dick? Like, you're kind of so good looking, just be a dick about it, and it'd be like, see,
Like, I wouldn't mind actually.
Dude, it seems really cool.
If you go over to his house and he was like a serial killer. And
just to balance it out.
And just to balance out.
So you die happy.
He kills people. I'm like, oh yes, thank you. I knew you couldn't be that good.
Just impales you on the Witcher sword, and you're like, this is totally what I wanted.
There is one other show as well, and it came recommended to me through on Twitch streaming, and that was the Ozark. It was a show that I'd looked at and went, Jason Bateman. Yeah, right. I was like, I've got my Breaking Bad, my Better Call Saul. I was like, I don't need another family crime drama thing. And then I watched it, and then the next episode, then the next season, and then looking online when the next season is out. And thankfully the 4th season, the first part of it, just released this week. And even though it's been a bit of a break, really, really strong start. I'm gonna miss it when it's over, but I highly recommend it. I don't want to spoil it. 4 seasons right now. Ooh, 4 nice. Split into 2. What I want to say, it's almost Breaking Bad, but what if the whole family was in on it?
It's weird because I watched the trailer and I was like, it's fucking dark. That trailer's dark.
One kind of criticism I have for the show is that it's like everything that they do right causes 2 things to go wrong. And so by the 3rd season, like, you're just like, for Christ's sake, can any character just get a break? Yeah. Because right now things have escalated to the point where it's spiraled.
You struggle with seasons like that. It's like a few Sons of Anarchy seasons where it finished and you were like, how do you come back from that? And I mean, but they do.
Well, thankfully Ozark is ending, so at least it's spiraling out, but it will end before going too far.
It's funny how we've come to the point with seasons where someone kind of, when they announce like, we've written this to be the last season, sometimes you breathe a little sigh of relief, like, we're going to get some fucking closure and we're going to get through it.
Well, that'll
Preacher's
come back
a good one. They were like, we're going to write this
later as well.
Yeah, very true, very true. There you go.
So tell me, guys, what have you been watching, or what's helped you get through lockdown and isolation?
Man, I just watched the standard. I finished off all the WCW pay-per-views all the way up to 2001.
So what got you out of that funk after that?
I just started from 2001 WWE pay-per-views, and just
that time period will pull you out of it.
Like I was obviously watching documentaries that WWE were releasing, which was the Ruthless Aggression era,
which is when you say documentary, their version of a documentary.
But yeah,
because I remember I watched that going, this is not what happened.
That's what I was thinking. I was watching it and I'm like, they've omitted a lot of things which thankfully they had to admit, but that made me want to go back and re-watch the pay-per-views of obviously Chris Benoit matches, and it was heavily focused on the success of making John Cena and people like Batista and Rey Mysterio, and that was nice to watch. But then when you balance it, when you're on the forums of watching, AEW going up against WWE and the whole backlash of how contracts work and who, how you work for one company but you're freelance, and then when they release you,
right now.
It's
a rough time to be a wrestling fan right now in a way. It's a great way. It's a great time.
It's a great way because there's so many people moving around and there's so much.
It's weird, man.
Like I said, with ITV4, like I'm watching wrestling on ITV4. Who the hell are ITV4? But they've got these rights because this is how you promote a show. 12 o'clock at night, trying to get it from underground, and then all of a sudden you have that breakout show, and you do really well. Can I bring up Ghostbusters Afterlife now, or shall I save it for?
Bring it up, Ian. You're dying to talk about it.
Okay. I'm going to point this out again because basically,
wait a minute, you've not seen it yet.
No, so you're about to Terminator. Fuck it, what was the last one called? Help me out. Dark Fate. You're about to Dark Fate me again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Andy, how much do you care about Ghostbusters?
I love Ghostbusters.
So I want to ask you then, why have you not seen it?
Mate, I just haven't had time. I'll explain why when I catch up and stuff.
Sure.
But no, I haven't had the chance to watch it. But you go ahead. I'm going to watch it regardless.
Okay, so I went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife. I was really looking forward to going and see Ghostbusters Afterlife, but I also knew that there was just something wrong with going to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. It wasn't the same. It wasn't Ghostbusters. And so he has a daughter in the film.
Who's he?
Egon Spengler.
Okay, right on.
So Egon obviously has gone away with all the stuff to try to stop Gozer from coming back, and he's gone to this small town in the middle of nowhere and taking control of this farmhouse, and while he's there he dies. And his daughter, that he's never spoken to really ever since she was born, gets a letter telling her to come to this farmhouse and basically take it over, right?
Sorry, okay, you're going to do the whole movie, or are you going to tell me enough about it?
I'm just going to break down something for you. So the daughter is at least, Gary, help me out, 40, shall we say? She's 40 years old.
Yes,
we could be generous and say 38, 35, but 40 is a nice round number for me. And obviously, if you minus it from the time that Ghostbusters Afterlife is active, 2021, then this means that his daughter would have been born prior to the first Ghostbusters movie. Right?
Okay, I'll go with you on that.
So now I'm just going to cover right now and say, well, Egon clearly did not want his daughter getting mixed up in whatever shenanigans he was doing.
Clearly.
Or the little girl, let's find out what happens when we take away the puppy, was Egon's daughter.
Right.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. So he just walks out on this daughter and just does nothing with her for 40 plus years other than send her a letter. So
Experiments.
So we go through Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, but the film doesn't actually announce Ghostbusters 2. They only announce Ghostbusters 1. There's like
so Afterlife is kind of playing like 2 isn't canon. Is that what you're saying?
No. There are nods to it in the film with some props,
but they just focus on one.
On the first one.
Okay,
so when they see video footage from the end of Ghostbusters, where the guys come out of the building and everyone's hugging, when they see video footage of that on YouTube, but there's no video footage of like the giant Jello mode out covering the museum from Ghostbusters 2. Okay, so ghosts don't exist in this universe until you get to this big hole in the middle of nowhere, which is Gozer's next way of coming out, right? And the daughter's there, so she's 40.
Yeah, you're making me do maths.
Egon has not had any contact with the daughter at all, right? And he told nobody. Even Janine says at one point,
and it's not Janine's kid.
No, it's not Janine's kid.
Okay.
They do not.
This is a secret door.
They do not ever bring up the mum, her name, or a picture of her at all throughout the movie. Okay? So, the daughter has got a son. And then he's got another daughter, which is, the son's about 15 years old. The daughter is 13. You saw her from the trailer. Glasses, kind of looks like Egon.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, here's my theory. Okay?
This is going to get bad,
This is going to get...
It's in full hands on.
Weird, okay? So my theory is that Egon created this daughter, right? Wanted to make a younger version or clone of himself back in 81.
Okay.
Prior to the first movie. And he I don't think he got a woman pregnant, because that's just not Egon, right? He doesn't get people pregnant. Egon doesn't get people pregnant.
Okay.
I think he created...
Do you think Egon was going into Ghostbusters 1 as a virgin? Is that what you're saying?
I think I don't think he's ever...
I mean,
okay,
that's plot hole 1 in your theory.
If not, then he had sex with a woman, right? He went to a bar and he...
Yeah, I mean, you got a kid, I don't need to tell you how that works.
Pregnant, and
right?
And went, I'm never going to involve myself in this child's life at all, other than from a distance taking photos of her and chronicling her life from age 0
just gonna,
to 40.
I mean, carry on. Carry on. Here's the shovel.
I can hear his forehead vein.
So,
you know.
So, he's created this child either through sex with somebody or through cloning, right?
I mean, those are the 2 ways, yes.
And then one day, when he's chronicling her life and she's doing well, not brilliant, he saved New York possibly twice, and nobody ever talks about it at all, right? Mm-hmm. And so she goes to have a child, right? My theory is that he realised he needed another clone, and she's the closest thing to him in DNA. So
you're going to go where I think you're going to go.
He injects her with his own DNA.
Get out. Get the fuck out.
Right. No, stay with me, because the daughter...
Absolutely not.
Because his granddaughter is so like him, right? So like him. Glasses, dark hair, acts like him, fixes a fucking proton trap, yeah, with just like a car battery and a screwdriver.
So she could be MacGyver's.
How could she, when the mum, her mum, who is the proper daughter of Egon, is like nothing like him?
His talent skips a generation. That's the thing.
Okay.
Can I just point, just very quickly,
yes.
in all seriousness, can I just point out, you know when you're like, she's 35, 38, 40?
Yeah.
I mean, do they ever point out how old she is?
No.
So could it just be that you've incorrectly aged her as it pertains to the plot?
Okay, but...
So that she's like, 30.
But dude, even if she's 30 and he...
Who's playing the mother?
I've forgotten her name.
Yeah.
Okay, he's helpful.
Sorry, I should have written it down. But even if she's only 30, right, that means that Egon, this great guy from the first 2 movies, right, thought one day, you know what, I'm going to have a child and not have anything to do with her.
Yeah, people do that though.
Peter Venkman does that, not Egon Spengler. Because if so, that's the storyline for Afterlife. That
You're
he doesn't
such
want to
a
do
Venkman, Egon.
He doesn't want to do anything with this child, right? But okay, I understand the whole thing that it skips a generation. I get that, but there is no indication in the film what their father is like. So we're talking this granddaughter, who is very much like her grandfather, that has skipped her mum's generation, her brother's generation, and her. She has no traits of her father. If she has no traits of her father, then Egon injected her mother with his own DNA to create another clone of himself.
So it was Carrie Coon, and she is 40. So
she is 40.
Your age radar was right on.
Yeah, but okay, no, sorry.
But
she looked 40. That don't mean she's fucking playing 40. We'll talk about Karate Kid later.
Still, she would have had to be born prior to Ghostbusters 1, and Egon's walking around thinking about drilling holes in his head.
Do you know why? Sorry, can I just say? Do you know why? Do you know why I think they didn't address like where the dad was and stuff?
Okay.
Do you know why I don't think they addressed it? Because I don't think they needed to. Because you're the only person who's
it's not needed. But
I think it's a non-issue.
In Ghostbusters 1 and 2, like we are hyper focused on the business growing and the characters. We don't follow Winston going off to college and getting a degree or doing his other work. We don't follow Egon at home, making breakfast.
No, I get that.
So we don't follow any of their other lives. Just what's focused on.
But the thing with Afterlife is, and I
know it's all about family.
That's it. They had to.
It's fucking Fast and Furious now.
They had to have this great idea, and with obviously Harold Ramis passing away, it was really difficult to obviously do some of his sequences.
Because he couldn't tell us if he had sex with someone, could he?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I feel Harold Ramis would have told us that.
It would have been better if the lady playing his daughter wasn't his daughter and she just happened to come across this house, because it also doesn't make any sense why Egon just up and left one day with all of the gear and went out to the middle of nowhere without telling any of his buddies.
Is it possibly because he was trying to stop the coming the one thing he knew could destroy the entire world.
Okay, dude, you would think that, but I'm telling you, there's a sequence in the movie.
And yes, that's why he did that.
Right, there's a sequence in the movie where they have carvings on the wall of dates.
I wish I was in the cinema with you when you watched this to see you.
Oh man,
popcorn going over everywhere, just
I
like
almost
yelling.
walked out. I'm telling you.
Oh my god!
They've got carvings of the dates on the wall of when the world is supposedly going to end. Right? One of the dates.
Valentine's Day. Bummer.
One of the dates is actually
2016
the date of Gozer. Yeah, in 1984.
Yeah.
And then the next date is 2021 when it's coming out this time in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, do you know what would have been great?
No, but would have been great after 84.
Yeah, but those weren't the only two numbers on there.
Because it's because it's called a prediction.
Yes.
But also, do you know what would have been great if they put the date of the release of that female Ghostbusters movie as a potential end of the world?
Yes.
That would have been amazing.
How do you stand there carving going, we might die in 1984, but
just
in case.
Writing down his predictions, dude. Like, come on, man.
I love you, but I think you might have gone too far off the deep end on this. Just on this one.
It was not me, man.
Ghostbusters Afterlife was the sequel that we needed to Ghostbusters. If we were going to get a follow-up sequel to Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife broke my heart in how much soul was put into that film in order to make sure they gave a fan-pleasing movie that did open the doors to Ghost Corpse and telling more stories in that world. It was not the handover that what we wanted, but what we got, I was absolutely over the moon with, and it was.
I had fun with it. I had fun when I went to cinema. I had fun.
Did you go with Dylan and Linda?
I did.
Did they have to watch you just have Dylan's got to sit there and watch his dad have a mental breakdown?
He's the reason why I stayed, because I would have walked
Dylan
out.
Dylan said ghosts are cool, and his dad's like. This next to him, like.
Oh my god! There's a part. There's a part where the kids have been arrested for driving the Ecto 1 really fast through the town, right?
Because fair.
And they're arrested by what's the actor's name? He was in Freeway. I can't remember the actor's name. He was from Freeway, and he's in the Ghostbusters. Somebody was trucking this stuff. Anyway, the sheriff turns to the kids, and the smart Egon clone daughter turns.
The granddaughter.
Yeah, turns. The Egon clone turns and says, "We get our free phone call. We get our free phone call." And the sheriff turns. The camera zooms in, and guess what the fuck he says? Who are you going to call?
That's fucking genius writing.
It is, isn't it? I was like, oh, they put it in the film in a really good way.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Why don't you like that? That's fucking awesome.
I wanted to, but it's like the movie's just like, we haven't said it.
If I wrote that line in a movie, I think I was so clever.
If I was walking home and I just went, wait a minute, they didn't say that, I would have been like, man, why did we think that's got to be in there?
Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
This is why we like Cobra Kai.
I might be completely wrong. I might be completely wrong. Trust me, I have to buy it on DVD and I have to watch it again just to make sure that what I saw is what I saw. I think I saw J.K. Simmons in the movie. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I did or not.
He's there for about 5 seconds.
What a fucking brilliant way to deliver that line. What's your problem with that? Who are you going to call? That's when I'm in the centre going, like the screen, man. Oh, you messed up.
That line needed to be brought forward for a new generation to hear it, so that they're like, what was that?
I think it's because I'd already tripped on the plot hole of the daughter right from the start.
Oh, don't fucking try and win me back now with nostalgia.
And then it just started to hit me with nostalgia. I did. The final part of the movie, yeah, I was clapping, but the movie finished and I was just like, way. And the movie had already gone. I'm like, bye, fuck you. We took your money.
Wow.
Yeah. You seen anything recently?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, very quickly, if you don't want to skip one, Andy.
Do you know what? It's like, well, for what? Jesus Christ, dude.
I mean, yeah, following that insanity.
That. Well, okay. I mean, I didn't get. I got to admit. I mean, I pretty much just watched all the greatest hits through lockdown anyway and pandemic. I'll tell you what got me through it. Was I bought a dog.
Yes.
I finally bought my little. We went we went on we couldn't go on a holiday. That's next year because it's been moved for the last like 3 fucking years now.
Pandemic.
I don't even know where we're going because it's changed. We booked a holiday in
Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Wouldn't go there.
No, I think we're going Turkey now. I don't even know. Yeah, maybe we'll just stay on the plane.
Yeah.
Like,
actually flying, it'll be the different restrictions.
Yeah,
and
we'll
different
just visit the airports of the world. I don't know. But so we took a trip to London, just sort of like just Woolwich, just went to all the parks and museums and stuff like that. And when we come back, I bought a German Shepherd puppy because I've wanted one since I had one when I was a kid. So that's pretty much got me just training this barrel of pain.
Yeah,
because he's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
He's his name's Boulder. He's
Boulder.
Balder. B-A-L-D.
Balder. Nice. Yeah.
Because my dog when I was a kid was called Odin. So
perfect.
but he's nearly 8 months old, and he's nearly 40 kilos.
Oh wow!
And he's just like. He's just a brick with legs. It's so funny. He's
awesome.
Brilliant. He's such a great dog, so we did that. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty much just watching, just caught up with the hits. I mean, we watched Afterlife recently.
Yes. I actually.
Sorry, not the fucking.
The good Afterlife.
The good Afterlife. We
yeah.
finished that up, which is always good. We sit there watching it, and we re-watched it all the way through. Like
I did the same, but I had it on while I was editing.
I'm sat there watching it, hugging my dog like. Yes. Crying my fucking eyes out. We were talking about it earlier where Afterlife I'm talking about is the Ricky Gervais show on Netflix, sorry for everyone, and they've just finished season 3,
the final season.
He said it's the final season. He's contracted to do another season for Netflix, but he's basically said it won't be Afterlife, so he's going to do something, and I desperately want his series to be a spin-off where we follow the character Brian around trying to become a stand-up comedian. Now, Brian, very quickly for anyone who doesn't know him, is a very creepy man who lives in the village.
They could probably do a whole series on the community
centre. You know what?
I
would film it in an Office David Brent style.
Yes.
When they finished The Office and they did the Christmas special and they were following David Brent up and down the road and stuff, that's how I'd shoot it.
Yeah.
But Brian is like a very creepy guy who just comes into the office of the local paper, that's where the main character works, and tries to tell him a story to get himself in the paper, and it's always something horrific. And the jokes he tells are just horrific, but it is so funny, and
it's very vulgar and quite shocking. There's lots of bad language, but it's really well timed and punctuated.
It's perfect, and he ends up. It's one of those things where he ends up being a really lovable character.
It's really sweet, isn't it?
And you really feel for him. I think his best gag was actually. His funniest joke was actually his least offensive, and considering this is his least offensive, it might give you a barometer for where he is. When he was really low, and one of them was like, "Brian, tell us one of your jokes." And he's got this really funny, deep voice, hasn't he? But he's like, "All right, I'll tell you a joke." And he's like, "Why did the girl fall off the swings? Because she got no arms." And that's it. And like. And I'm like, that's the cleanest joke technically he's ever told. It's amazing. Yeah. So that got me through. The other one, very quick, because I did tell everyone about it when I first started it, is I finally had my fucking charity boxing match after 18 fucking months.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awful. God's sake.
I know you were.
Like the whole experience was just dreadful.
You were built for it, and then after all the delays, it just kind of happened.
Yeah, we weren't
fully ready.
We went into lockdown the week of
the
first fight.
Yeah.
And I went from the best shape of my life to average man in lockdown.
Yeah, and that is
which was not the best shape of my life.
Yes.
And then we kind of went back, and it got cancelled again, and then we went back again, and we finally did it. And by the time we got to it, this was just after the trip to London as well. So I was in London eating fish and chips 2 weeks before the fight. I was just set out. I don't care anymore. I don't fucking care anymore.
Just gonna get it done.
The night itself. Nothing went right. It was supposed to be. We were in a local guild hall, where we've seen wrestling in there and stuff. That's a little function place. It's not a big venue by any means, but the idea is you go in, you're there all day because you got to do physicals and stuff like that. So first of all, I get matched up with a lovely guy called Lewis, but he's my size, a bit bigger, and happens to be captain of a local rugby team. He's not fucking around. Love him to death though. We get put as the main event, which everyone's like, yay! And I was like, fuck, I just want to know.
Extra pressure.
Well, it's not even, honestly wasn't the pressure, it was, I gotta fucking wait now until everyone else has to fight. Yeah. So, yay! So I'm not even selling it, it was a total nightmare. But then, the security who the company hired, who were coming from like Brighton, Like, we haven't got a million security firms in Plymouth. We're 2 hours late.
Jesus.
So they got people waiting outside. We're like, that's it. I'm like sat in the dressing room like this, like completely come down off of any kind of energy high.
Yeah.
So we eventually get on. I think we went. It was a 3-round fight. Everyone did 3 rounds. I got in. I pretty much spent. I come out really kind of like tired almost.
Tired?
I did. I came out like, fuck, let's just get this done. And he come out the corner, touched gloves, and he whacked me as hard as he could right in the nose. And he split my nose open. I'm not even doing first punch. He shot my nose, and it was one of these funny things. I'm not sort of saying it for bravado. Like, nothing hurt or anything really, you know. But it was that thing of like, if I just like whacked you in the nose, you get that.
Yeah, I'd be like,
your eyes well up. You're like, son of a bitch, I can't see now and stuff like that. So he said, and I wasn't really doing a lot. To be fair, those first 2 rounds I lost, like, but I didn't go down or anything. And he missed a lot of his shots, and I was like,
third round you came back.
Well, yeah, but I was still going. He's getting really tired, and then it was only in the 3rd round that I kind of woke up. And
oh no!
No, I'm not even exaggerating. And he started coming out. He sort of like got me against the ropes, and I just kind of went, "Oh fuck this! I've had enough." And tagged him like 3 times, knocked him on his ass.
Yeah.
Wow. He got up, like, don't get me wrong, he got up and everything like that, but he was gone. So that's, but it was funny is the thing was like, he got up and I was like, oh shit, I should probably do something, because I've got all this energy all of a sudden. So that was it. So I went like full on, like, that's it. But you know, it ended, and like, if you score boxing, it was 2 10-9 rounds to him and a 10-8 to me for knocking him down. So it was actually
that's a draw. Yeah, but he's got 2 rounds. So.
Yeah, they score it differently. They explained it to us in the dressing room. We all kind of looked at each other like, so it's kind of like whatever you say it is then. Okay.
Yeah.
It's charity. Who gives a fuck? But so it's absolutely fine. Big hug afterwards. Went out back. Dawn and my wife came to the dressing room. Damn near kicked the door down because I'm pouring blood.
Of course.
But I'm like, it's really not as bad as it looks. I'm fine. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, will you get me a drink? And she's like, he's fine. You know. But the worst thing about it was like we had like suits there and stuff because the idea is you go out afterwards. But because we were 2 hours late, we had to leave. No one. I didn't know until someone came into the dressing room and was like, you got to get out. And because of all my reaction was, you got to fuck off. Like, don't even, what? And they're like, we've got to clear out, you're going to have to go. So I was like, I'm damned from putting a suit on. I threw a t-shirt and a pair of jeans, and like my wife was like, well, we've got to head home. She had to work. And about 10 I was like, well, I'm going to the pub. So that was it.
Nice.
Got home, cuddled up with the dog for an hour. So I was like, what a fucking farce that was, that whole thing. But you know what I mean? So
it was quite a journey, though. Really.
Yeah, it was.
And
as a group, like 15 grand for cancer research.
That's amazing, dude.
Totally worth every fucking minute of it in a way. But just I'm sat there in the pub and I'm just chortling to myself, just laughing, like my nose is doing this, and I'm like, fucking situations I get myself into.
I get talked into doing this.
Yeah, literally.
Would you do it again?
Do you know what? Now and again I get the bug because it was fun. The banter and the group and everything like that is good fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, you know me. I do like doing the training and stuff like that. Every time I mention it, I get a look from Donna that says, "No, you fucking won't," because the training's hard on her as well. Because I'm not very present. I've got, I'm training twice a day and stuff.
Man, I wasn't like chatting to you when you were training for it, because all I could think of was, look, it's boxing. You're going to be punched in the head. Like that's if we're going for any kind of scoring system, you're going for the punch in the head. So then you go to practice all the blocking, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, no, try rock climbing instead.
You can fall from that.
Well, you get punched in the head in boxing.
Yeah, but I'm heavy. I'll fall hard from rock climbing, dude. No fucking way.
Alrighty, well, looking at the time, it's time for us to move into the news section of the podcast. Now, I was a little bit surprised actually because I looked at the news and most of the interesting news were still news snippets from the last podcast that still hadn't materialized yet.
Right.
Yeah, weird, right?
It's been a kind of a slow news year, and I also decided today I was going to skip talking about celebrity deaths because obviously we used to do them, but it's been years in between podcasts, and there's been too many.
Yeah.
But
we had a recent one recent.
I
know it broke my heart. Played the music all day.
Same.
And
instantly regretted it.
Yes, I know. Cause
I was working. I work from home. Obviously, I put it on, and instantly I was just like, "Why did I do this? What idiot!"
Yeah. Right.
Let's close the laptop for a minute. I was like, "Okay, I'm taking a break." Like.
So the first bit of news that I want to bring up today is that there will be a film studio in space in 2024.
Spice!
Space Entertainment Enterprise, known as SEE, is the same company that's currently co-producing the new Tom Cruise unknown space film, and they plan to launch a sports arena, a production studio in zero gravity for all future projects.
Red Dwarf's finally coming true.
It's going to be it's Axiom Space got approval from NASA to build the commercial component of the International Space Station, where SEE intends to produce or enable the production of artists in recording, live streaming, filming, writing scripts, all in low orbit microgravity environments, so that they can actually understand what zero gravity, low gravity is doing, just so they get more authenticity, but also for filming, so they don't have to have pulleys and green screens and ropes. They can do it for real if they want. So space movies might get a little bit more interesting.
Mate, no, I'm playing the Mass Effect trilogy, just dropped on
Legendary,
and I'm just, this is so making me like, we're so close to the Citadel, right?
So we're getting there. We're finally
I'm going to point out something as well, is that I managed to get a Series X just before Christmas, which is the only reason I can play the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh wow, really?
Because like getting into like a shuttle or a lift, as soon as I did it earlier, I was just like, I remember what ping. Oh really?
Oh, I'm already here.
Like, oh my god, it loads instantly. Yes.
The characters can't even finish the conversation.
It's like, shut the fuck up, Kaiden, get out the lift.
And next, some pretty big news. Microsoft just brought Activision Blizzard.
Yes.
And for how much?
$68.7 billion?
Just under $70 billion.
Fucking Dr. Evil money.
Right? It's an insane amount of money. But then you got to remember, Microsoft are a multi-billion-dollar company anyway.
Dude,
so
they've
it's just
been
like
swinging their dick for the last few years, haven't they? Because I mean, Bethesda was a shock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like Bethesda had good with Doom, but they really lost a lot of good favour and a lot of respect after Fallout Online, Fallout 76.
Yeah.
That was
again, that was more than the game, wasn't it? It was the handling of like the Legendary editions, and just everything.
The amount of Skyrims that they ported, so you could literally.
That Dave in the chat saying, "Why didn't they pay 69 billion missed opportunity?" Fair point. I'd have written that into the contract.
So, like, they own all those games.
They now
bear in mind, sorry, this isn't finalised until next year, is it?
True. That's because there's lots of politicking and moving around of.
Activision did come out, didn't they, and say that they're gonna honour all their sort of current commitments, which is okay. So basically, it was a very quick. Microsoft have bought Activision, which don't forget includes Call of Duty, and everyone was like, "Wait, Call of Duty is going to be Xbox exclusive." DLCs. They've already come out and said Warzone is sort of never going to be an exclusive. Warzone is going to be everyone gets that.
Yeah.
But you're kind of talking when you get to like Call of Duty in a couple of years' time. Most likely it will be an Xbox exclusive,
PC, Xbox. I mean?
So it's a very like it was a huge drop, and then it was a lot of this is way off.
EA or Sony, they could pull out the Medal of Honors again. They've been dormant for a long time.
Who plays Medal of Honor?
Well, nobody.
No one. That's why they make them.
But if Microsoft has a monopoly, you will see the competition come back.
Microsoft are going to probably end up buying EA and Sony at some point. Sony's
no. Sony is still bigger than Microsoft at the moment in terms of the entertainment industry.
But they are
in my opinion, I saw this as a Microsoft coming back. It's an equalizer for me. Which people are like, oh, it's a monopoly now, and I'm like, well, really, Microsoft had jack shit like 3 years ago.
PS4 won the fucking console war, as it were.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that in a way now there's no console war. It's just this kind of everyone's fighting their own little wars. They're just not against each other in a way now.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
I just like Microsoft.
Nintendo are just sort of like.
yeah. Microsoft's mentality is that they want people to play their games on anything. Device. So your tablet, your phone, your Xbox, your PC,
and they want
and the Game Pass system, which will be available on everything eventually. I'm like, it's all that value there, really, and I think it's a really good offer.
But that's where obviously
Game Pass is so good.
They really start to push ahead, because every device that you own only has their operating system. Like with
Sorry, don't forget that Sony have got State of Play coming soon. I believe it's early next month, and they have already
buy PlayStations.
Well, you fucking can't, mate. At the minute, can you? I've been trying to buy one for like a year and a half.
At the moment, it's either buy a PC or buy an Xbox.
Well, they're supposed to. They've sort of put out into the ether themselves that this is where they're going to announce their Games Pass, because I mean at the minute they got like 2 subscription services that no one really understands and neither are really very good.
Yeah,
and they're kind of, they put out, VR2's coming, and everyone was like, I mean, I've got the VR for the PS4 and it's great fun, but they were like, it's wireless VR, and they're like, bitch, Oculus is so far ahead of you already that no one's going to give a shit about PSVR 2. I'm sorry. So I think now they're moving
the
into. I totally remember the iToy, man. I remember buying that, and we spent 10 minutes thinking this was great, and then about 11 minutes in, we were like, this is a dumb fucking waste of money. Like all peripherals, but I don't know. So a lot of people are like, Sony are fucking dead. I'm like, they ain't fucking dead by any means, but PlayStation got some work to do.
Microsoft's going to have more of those exclusives, which is what everyone's always said Microsoft doesn't have. Now they do.
Absolutely.
So, and now it's going to be more interesting.
That's what they think was the winner of the PlayStation versus Xbox war, is that like the exclusives were so much better.
Yeah. But obviously I think they got Activision Blizzard for a reasonable price. Activision Blizzard probably wouldn't have sold if they weren't going through all of the lawsuits, accusations and everything else going on. So really, what I really hope this does is for some serious change in that company, and for the employees that work there.
It's been really highlighted throughout, especially the pandemic, with so many kind of I mean, look, I've completely lost faith in AAA titles. Because you can't fucking buy one day one anymore, because you know they're just going to be a nightmare. I'm sorry, but I can't help but just feel terrible for these horror stories coming out about the developers and what they're having to go through just to get these things out the door.
It's heartbreaking.
So if it starts improving some of these conditions, I'm all for it. You know, like if it brings everyone under this banner of Microsoft, where they're like, we're not in a rush because we've got so much to put out.
Is it Microsoft who are buying up people and then not utilising them?
No, they're fucking
EA.
using
that utilises them until they're gone.
Sorry, I got a bit confused there.
The next story I want to bring up, don't get too excited, it's only a novel at the moment. That is Heat 2. Heat released in 1995, and now Michael Mann is preparing for a comeback, but in novel form. The book Heat 2 releases this year in August, and it works as a sequel and a prequel, and it follows the original characters, introduces new ones, and it's expected to deliver intense action and drama with a wider scope on crime, drug trafficking, money laundering, and more. And there's obvious talk about cinematic treatment, but that's going to require a lot of de-aging, aging.
I was going to say, De Niro dies at the end.
Yeah, I know, but his character will be in Heat 2 because it's going to go before and after.
Yeah, but it really shouldn't.
If you say something about him having a daughter that he should have, I swear to God, I'm a...
Right, cloning, man. Right.
Oh, God,
no, but... Right. Going from the story of Heat, the two of them had never met up until that first cafe, and then obviously the confrontation at the end. So I get bringing the character back and maybe retelling the story of how they chased each other.
It's going to be there as a template to serve this next story.
He might even have dream sequences where he talks to Robert De Niro's character about what it means to be a cop and what he's going to do to actually chase somebody down. Then, obviously, he might be going up against a new gang of bank robbers.
They're going up against the cartel in the book.
That's what he said.
So yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Well, I was just thinking, like, the first one was so heavy and impactful, and the story did so well. A sequel,
it's a novel for now. So.
Different detective, I'd say.
Do you know what this would really lend itself to really well, where you could actually involve every single one of the cast and you don't have to de-age them, is if you did it, if it's a book, is do it as an audible audio drama in the same way that they're doing Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Because
good shout.
That fucking cast is stellar for Sandman, so fucking bring in De Niro and Kilmer and everyone, whatever, and just do it.
Kilmer really can't do voice work.
Well, okay, yeah.
Very sad. That was an awesome documentary as well that released. Was it on Amazon that it released? The Val Kilmer's documentary?
And it's on
yes.
It's on Sky Documentaries now as well. I've watched it twice.
Well, the next news story I have, it's not really too much news, but the Dan Trachtenberg's new Predator film does now have a title.
Yeah.
And they can't quite spell Predator, so they just called it Prey.
Prey.
As in, like, pray, like, please, fuck, be good. Please.
So what we're going to get, is it going to be Praise 2 or just Praise?
Man, I have little to no faith with this movie simply because
it's Disney.
They do the aliens thing and call it Praise.
Yeah.
Is it actually Disney, is it?
Well, I mean, it's Disney, but they've also said it's not. It's going to be, I think it's on Hulu in America, and for UK streaming, no answer yet.
It's going to be a TV series.
Sorry, a film. Sorry, yes. I think it's going. I think it is going to streaming though, not theatrical. The new Predator.
Nice.
So what we do know is it's set 300 years before the first film, and it's going to follow a native skilled warrior who protects her tribe against the alien predator.
It's going to be like Hunter's Planet, the novel, maybe, or something, with a female that they take in and everything like that.
That's how it went. Yeah. Should meet up.
Next on the news is Lethal Weapon 5. And so I guess Lethal Weapon looking for that comeback. We did actually mention this in the previous podcast, but since then, sadly, Richard Donner passed away just last year. But he was working on the screenplay for Lethal Weapon 5 in the hopes of having Riggs and Murtaugh reunite one more runaround, essentially. But Donner did say to Mel Gibson, if I die before this gets finished, you have to finish it and then you have to direct it. His wife overheard this, the producers have heard this, it's known. So right now they're trying to get hold of Danny Glover and what's his face?
Chris Rock?
No, the other
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
Is that what that was?
Joe Pesci. I mean, he's taller than me, probably.
Shit, Joe Pesci looked fucking old in The Irishman. Like, I don't know if that was
that was de-aged.
Yeah, but can you imagine though if he was like, he's still got the bleached blonde hair and he's still like all cocky? It'd be amazing. They got to call it Lethal Weapon 5. We are definitely too old for this shit.
Man, Lethal Weapon 5. I know they. 4 was so good.
If we can have Coming to America, we can have Lethal Weapon 5. All right.
I don't want Lethal Weapon 5.
I did enjoy Coming to America.
From what I've heard in the rumors as well, I think they were looking at John Wick, Keanu Reeves as the villain for it as well. So, or a John Wick inspired kind of villain.
Wait,
sorry. Lethal Weapon?
Do you mean they were looking at Keanu Reeves as
that's what I've heard.
Sorry, I thought you were suggesting that John Wick was going to be the villain.
No.
Like, we got to stop this guy. He's causing havoc.
That character type, and if not, having Keanu Reeves as the villain, though.
I could get behind Keanu Reeves being a bad guy.
He could think he's the bad guy.
And he has a daughter.
But he could find out that Riggs could find out that John Wick's doing it because someone killed a dog, and then Riggs gets fucking on board with it because he likes dogs too.
Oh, and then it's Murtaugh, Riggs, and Keanu Reeves
against the daughter.
Against the shit ton of fucking bad guys.
Against the daughter. Yeah, clone army.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm going to move on to the next.
This shit writes itself. What's the problem?
Final Destination 6.
Man.
It got brought to my attention because I thought that, when we reviewed all the movies, I looked ahead to see if 6 was coming down the pipe, and studios went, like there's no interest. Like the movies have done less and less, like commercially, critically, but it looks like Final Destination 6 is now going ahead, and John Watts has been brought on as a producer now that he's completed Spider-Man No Way Home. He's not going to be directing Final Destination, but he'll be there with his own script, which is being developed by a couple of others. It's Laurie Evans Taylor, who did Wicked Games, and Guy Busick, who just did Scream 5. Now... There's also a couple of producers that worked on all previous 5 Destination films that are going to be there, so that at least they know the lore, where the series has come from, and how to bring it forward. All we know so far is because it's a fresh script, they're not going to be going with the first responders, the police, fire department.
The idea that
that was what was originally floating around years ago, but now it looks like it's going to be a whole new idea. They haven't announced what that's going to be yet, so it might still be eminence of...
I was going to say, I thought I heard rumours that it was going to be a TV show, an episodic
I'm not sure. It may be
Because I mean,
that was the last news I had. But yeah, it's not. Because they don't have a director yet, I'm not sure if it is going to be series or film.
I mean, we were talking about this on the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. We were discussing that it would work as like an episodic thing where, well, I love the idea of Tony Todd introducing every episode as like a Tales from the Crypt kind of morgue assistant, and he pulls out a body and he says to the camera about, like a moral lesson about why you shouldn't drink and drive, and then it will cut to this girl, and then the whole episode will be her being taken out by death.
I think a TV series format would be fine if the episodes were 25 minutes long.
Well, yeah.
No, only because
I could maybe get on board with the series.
The elaborate deaths and the death. Like, if you drag it over an hour-long episode each week...
Well, this is it.
I just don't give a fuck about that franchise. I've got to admit. As a film, I just personally don't...
Like, if it was going to be a film, hour-and-a-half film, where they are... what are we talking about? We're talking about death trying to take out a group of people.
Essentially, yeah.
And we've got the whole film's got to hold our attention long enough that we want one or two of them to survive,
or figure out a way to prevent it or skip it.
But I think that's the issue. That's the issue with the franchise, isn't it? You're watching it, going like, "All these fuckers are going to die. Why do I care?"
That's why I think a TV.
Yeah, give me characters that make me care.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that since
it's
the
pretty
first,
much like
second
anything,
film.
like any series, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Oh, make the deaths good as well.
I mean, yeah, that's obviously.
That's given. Like the special effects for the racing one was so bad, so bad.
So again, not really much news on this, but this is a project that I'm going to keep my finger on the pulse of.
Yeah.
Any kind of updates that come out about it, and that is the Aliens TV series, also being made by Disney. Maybe
which makes the Queen a Disney princess.
It does indeed. And it's a tentative Aliens TV series release this year, but they have said that the head of FX, Chairman John Landgraf, has said most likely 2023 now, but he did say, and quote, "We are well into it now, but we want to get it right. We've been given access to a really precious resource when you're granted access to an important piece of IP. And so we've got to get this one right. We're going to take whatever time it takes to do that." And I've only ever heard those words from the mouth of another chairman of a game company that drove me absolutely nuts when that actually released.
Yeah.
With bated breath, I'm anxiously awaiting what we're going to see with this Alien show.
See, the race is, I've just thought about it then, the race now is, can Ridley Scott make another Alien movie before they make their Alien movie?
Well, he's already said that the studio has talked to him about it.
Yeah, whoever makes the next Alien movie, the company, like if it's an independent company just doing their thing with Ridley Scott, or Disney.
Disney want to make another Alien film. Ridley Scott wants to make another movie in the Alien franchise, and Disney has said no.
Yeah. Disney want to make the franchise so that they can own the whole franchise. If they were able,
they do. But
yeah,
so they can dictate
but
the
it's
story
more about
there's
like the alien, as in focusing on the xenomorph. Is
exactly.
Obviously, Ridley Scott's like, what about these big white dudes?
I've got Disney
Fuck those
Plus.
guys.
And, like, I think it's really interesting that with Disney Plus, they only have Aliens on there at the moment. They don't have the other movies. They have
really
Aliens.
Weird. I don't know if it's just a UK thing.
But
I was just about to say that.
Well,
I think I'm not sure.
It's got to be a contractual universal thing, because otherwise your company Disney are losing money that people aren't able to watch all
they
of
might just not have the rights to show for you to stream them in those countries at the moment.
The moment they make enough money and are able to fully purchase the rights to own the IP of the Alien series.
No, they do.
They own the rights to it, but there's distribution rights as well, so it's like that.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, that's why sometimes you'll see a series of movies and you're like, I'm gonna watch Alien. What? I want to watch Aliens. Why is that on Netflix? Wait, that's on Amazon Prime, but it was on this one last month. They fucking rotate around because they pick and choose and pay for rights for certain amounts of time.
They did the Star Wars Vision series on Disney Plus, which was like 9 different animators who reanimated their own Star Wars story.
Yeah.
They applied that to an Alien or a Predator kind of episodic adventure. Yeah.
Predator's Episodic Adventures. That's what I'd fucking call it.
Like seriously, like you look
Rated U.
Do you know what? Actually, I want to, because I haven't had a chance to ask you about it on the Alien sort of subject. You played Fireteam?
Yes. It's a glorious day in the Corps for an Alien fan.
I started playing it a little while ago. I started playing it and I'm like, so I'm, straight away I'm like, oh, okay, so my character moves like he's doing the I've got to shit myself fox step.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like, it's one thing to say that this is a last generation game, but we might be going back two generations. And then I played through 3 missions and I was like, this is fucking great.
Yes. The characters on the dropship, they don't even animate anything. There's no
when you're walking around in the between level area, you can just shoot the fuck out of the place. It doesn't matter. No one does a thing.
It's janky as hell. There's way too much aliens
noises, and they don't disappear. They kind of just stop and then fade away. But it's so good.
But it's so fun.
So fucking good.
As an Alien fan, you just want to load it up, and it's like having your own sound deck.
I worked out what it was, and I was like, it's just the sound of the rifle. That's enough.
Yeah. And
I put a pair of headphones on.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
getting the sentry guns.
Brilliant.
Down.
That's a sentry gun behind. That's fucking great. Like,
But I said, because I played it on the week of release on stream, and I told everyone coming in, like, if you're an Alien fan, you've already brought it. If you're on the fence, wait, because it's like looking at it from the outside, you're like, why are people loving this? Like, it's poor animations, like dull level designs. After a while, it's very repetitive.
Just little things like fucking pull this lever. That lever will just magically move like it's Doom 64.
It's so cheap and tacky, but bless the developers. They were like, stay with us, we're going to release more content, it's all going to be free. And then like after a month there was like 20 people playing it. It's like the player base just crashed harder than I've seen any other game in a while.
Like I played it a few times. It's built for 3-player, but I've played it a few times just with the bots and stuff. And there's a lot. It's like Rainbow Six just dropped, didn't it, with their 3-player version, which looks fucking dreadful. But you'll be playing it, it's over the shoulder third person, and the bot will walk behind you because of the camera angles they've used. The bot's in the, and you're like, mate, you're behind me and in the way. Fucking move! It's so much fun. But it's very. I mean, if you liked did you play World War Z?
No,
That's the closest thing I think it's to. No, but again, that was fun with a bunch of you.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Just playing it and ragging on how fucking stupid it was.
No.
The game that did take me away from
special place
from playing Aliens was Back for Blood for a little while, just because the movement speed was actually much faster and it was a little bit more frenetic. When I went back to playing Aliens, I was like, my god, I feel like I'm moving like a tank, and it doesn't. I've
got to shit myself foxtrot.
Yes, and I was just like, I can't play this right now because I've just played something that is better.
It's a great bit of fun to turn on now and again, just for the weaponry you get to use. That shotgun is surgical.
Yes, it's great.
Wonderful.
Alrighty, one last news story, and it is yet again Aliens related, but of a different variety.
Nice.
District 10 news.
Finally.
Yes.
I know, it's been moving along slowly, according to Neil Blomkamp, who has confirmed it is now his highest priority, while explaining that the film still has a long way to go ahead with further script rewrites, casting, filming, and final post-production. So literally they're right at the start.
Yeah, literally he's written District 10 on a notepad.
Yeah, we're doing it now.
That's what we're doing.
The plans for the Death Star.
The main thing is that they've had lots of conversations with the actors, with the studios, and so that they're kind of figuring out budgets and everything else.
Yeah.
But he has said that it's been 12 years since the original film. We don't know if it's going to be that much time-wise in film, which it probably will be, because he said it's not going to be District 9 2. He said it's District 10, so it's a completely different looking, sounding, feeling film, while still having, hopefully, Christopher, the alien, and I've forgotten his name, Wickus?
Is
him.
Sheldon Copley?
And finding out, finding out whether he did find a cure, whether he comes back, whether the aliens...
That was the point, wasn't he? He said, I'll come back for you.
With a cure, yeah. So all of those questions up in the air. So literally, it's a sandbox that I just want to see Neil Blomkamp play
into it as well. Fuck it, go on. You cowards, just do it.
Damon from Elysium with his
bring fucking Ninja and Yolanda back from fucking Die Antwoord, why not?
Dakota Fanning, she was in that weird Alien Alien.
Did you watch the thing on Netflix from their studio? You know, all the little
Studios.
shorts.
Oak
Studios. Thank you.
Oak Studios
That
was
that obviously just sort of like, it was great, but it just made me really excited for any feature they put out.
Yes, because it's shown their their editing.
Copley playing God with his butler doing the like, what are you doing down there? It's a rain dance. Set him on fire. It just was fucking brilliant. But that's more studios should do that.
Yeah,
but
it's almost like a demo reel. It's like, hey, this is what our studio can do.
Yeah.
See, now the thing was that it was funny that came out because he was in line to do a load of stuff, and then they dropped him.
A Halo, Alien 5 at one point,
and then he hit her with Oak Studios, and I was really surprised nobody picked him up quicker. Like, you know, look at what he can do with no budget. So I was always interested to see if there was something about, you know, Blomkamp that we weren't seeing, you know. But now he's coming back with District 10. I'm like, okay, let's just stay on track. You know, keep the story. Like, do you remember when District 9 dropped and nobody had heard about it, and then it was just so good that it's like, keep it tight, keep the script together. You know, call in just the bunch of favors. You know, get everybody in. Like Andy said, have the robots. You know, dot people up, green screen. Yeah.
Well, that is it for the news section of this podcast. We don't have trailers this time around, but and welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of podcast 41, where we're going to be talking about comebacks, and that is comebacks in the film industry, the entertainment industry as we know it. So we weren't really sure what everyone's lists were going to be until just a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
literally.
Mine are not in any particular order, although I did structure them in an order, but I moved some around just because I knew Andy's number 1 choice was...
We knew one of ours was going to be the same,
so
absolutely.
I've just moved it so that we can talk about it at the same time. But I do also want to bring up, when I was researching comebacks, there were lots of other ones that I'd not even thought about, or they just weren't as interesting for me, or they weren't as monumental to me. So it's a very subjective list. But my first list of honourable mentions, first one's to Michael Keaton in Birdman, and Keaton never really reached the highs of Batman after he stepped down from the role, and like his character in Birdman, he portrays a character dealing with a fall from grace and stardom while being haunted by his alter ego persona, and it really was a triumphant film, winning Best Picture, and it really set up Keaton then for Spider-Man, Vulture, and then potential return into the Batsuit later down the year, which, you know, but hopefully as an actor we get to see more of him after this as well.
I've always loved Keaton, like obviously loved him from Birdman, but loved him from Beetlejuice as well. And
but I'm looking, it's post-Batman is where his career went down.
Absolutely.
But he did Multiplicity after he did Batman.
He seems to be like a likeable actor.
I mean,
I like Jack Frost.
Is it the other guys with the other guys with Will Ferrell and Matt Damon, where they're
where he's the police chief and he keeps quoting TLC.
Oh man,
funny as all fuck.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when I saw Birdman, I'm like, I need to see this. But what makes Birdman even more beautiful, and that's what shines with Michael Keaton, is the way it's filmed, the way it's
it was a really well put
not
film.
Edited, because it's kind of like one.
It's heavily edited.
But it's like one flowing long shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and he just,
Yeah, so Michael Keaton. My next one is John Travolta, and Tarantino has been pretty much known as the master of reinventing actors whose careers kind of fell out of the limelight. And Travolta was fairly washed out before Pulp Fiction.
Oh, big fan.
In 1984, gave the actor a fresh feel and made him a box office draw again, maybe until 2019 when he did The Fanatic. And
I don't know, that's got Devon Sawyer in it, and Devon Sawyer was great in Chucky.
Wasn't it directed by a Limp Bizkit
by
person?
Fred Durst? Fred Durst is a kind of good director.
I just remember Travolta became like cool guy in black leather jacket for Hollywood, didn't he?
Yes,
doing all was it Broken Arrow and just he kind of became what Liam Neeson became in a way as well,
very
like that
much,
kind of like mid-range action movie guy.
Bankable name.
But you're right, before
Pulp Fiction. He had disappeared for a while.
Yeah, gone completely.
Yeah. And staying on the Tarantino line, Pam Grier with Jackie Brown. Grier was huge in the blaxploitation films with Foxy Brown in the 70s, and Tarantino really showcased how damn good an actor Pam Grier is, and since then Grier's continued to find work for decades post Jackie Brown. My next honourable mention is Mickey Rourke, the Hollywood tough guy, had his career overtaken by personal issues and his choice to get into boxing. And that was in 1991, and then he suffered severe facial injuries, not from boxing per se, but because of the horrible plastic surgeon that, in his words, made a mess out of his face. And it was really Robert Rodriguez that brought him back for Sin City before he then went on to 2008's The Wrestler, and that film was absolutely amazing. He was made for that role.
Massive comeback.
And so that was a massive comeback. I mean, he's had roles here and there. He's not stayed in the limelight. It was a comeback.
He came off of The Wrestler to do Iron Man 2.
Yes, that's right.
But I know that listening to I was really invested in The Wrestler, obviously being a wrestling fan. It sounds like the pairing of him and Aronofsky was like the perfect sort of storm, because he would, apparently Rourke kind of inadvertently rewrote a lot of that script, because he's an intellectual. And he's like, this isn't the way that guys in, say, gym locker rooms talk. He's like, well, you tell me what they'd say, and so it was a perfect storm, really.
What funny, as soon as you were talking about Mickey Rourke, it made me think about The Expendables, and then the comeback of Dolph Lundgren as well.
That was what all of The Expendables was about, wasn't it?
That's it. It was weird. Obviously, at the moment their careers are, I don't want to say that they're back to what they normally do, which is like they make an action movie on like $100. And then release it on DVD for everybody to watch. But that's kind of how these guys work, because then somebody comes along and says, I've got this other idea, and then it becomes a blockbuster. Okay,
some very, very quick honourable mentions for comebacks. Futurama, Only Fools and Horses, Twin Peaks The Return, Doctor Who Season 1, Christian Slater in Mr. Robot. Where did he go? And then when I was watching Mr. Robot, I was like, this is where you've been.
I was like that watching Archer. In it. When he plays himself in Archer, basically, I was like, awesome. The fuck? Are we doing this?
I also want to mention the X-Files had a great comeback. Star Wars in itself had a big comeback with the movies. I'm not going to go into those right now, but I want to say that the bigger comeback for me was The Mandalorian. That was really what made me still interested in Star Wars, and of course currently Book of Fett is doing really, really well. I have some issues with its presentation, but I'm loving the story and characterization.
Can it really be a comeback if it's an original story within that series?
But for me, I bracket Star Wars.
No, but I would call The Mandalorian a comeback, especially after like Last Jedi.
Yes. Because
it fucking needed something.
But that's it. I see it as a comeback for the Star Wars.
In a way, I'd throw Rogue One in there, because it was like after last Rogue One was like, oh thank God, we can still do this,
Okay, so we're gonna get into our actual top fives. Ian, you've got
I've got four because.
Well, 3.5.
I was trying to think of what a comeback really means to me, and after obviously getting over the initial joke and not wanting to say it because I just thought it was kind of crude and wrong, like thinking about what was a return, what was a comeback, and I started to realise a lot of the things I was thinking of, you guys were already going to be thinking of anyway. So mine did really just stick to what I know more, and that's wrestling. So I just went with wrestling comebacks, and then I realised that there was only really the four big ones that I really wanted to talk about.
That's awesome. I kind of pegged it that you would choose wrestlers because they make a huge deal out of it when they do come back.
Absolutely.
Well, I try to think of any sports personalities, but I was like, I don't know any, but I can't really think of any.
I was thinking as well, because I've got a wrestler in my... for I suppose an honourable mention, Tyson Fury, for example, is a really good example of a comeback in the sporting world.
Really? Because I didn't even think he retired or anything.
Oh, dude. He hit absolute rock bottom to the point... Like, he had to lose, 10 stone for his first comeback fight with Wilder. He was absolutely out of shape, had destroyed his body, was like, you know, depressed, was, you know, driving around LA in a Ferrari at 100 miles an hour going like, I'm just going to hit that wall and end it. He was
shit, I saw that interview.
Tyson Fury, whether you like him or not, I love the guy.
Badass boxer.
From take the boxing out of it, and if you want to see like a sort of spokesperson for mental health, just that one. Same as other honourable mention is David Goggins, who, if you know him, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, I recommend everyone gets his audio book on Audible, just called Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins is an African American that became a Navy SEAL, coming from the worst kind of like background and sort of strife, lost like 106 pounds or something in 3 months to make it into like Navy SEAL selection.
Wow. I don't know the story.
Hardest man walking the face of the planet, dude. What if you ever get a chance, like, watch his interview with Joe Rogan, and he gives a really good cliff note to his thing. But his audiobook is phenomenal because it's also a great platform where it's his book that's read out, but in between chapters, the author who's reading it is talking to David Goggins in interviews, so you get a little bit more context on the chapter you've just read. Nice. And also, in this thing we couldn't fit in the book, so it's a audiobook / interview / podcast, and it's just perfect.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take those 2 bonus comebacks.
There you go.
Awesome.
So now you're on 6 and we lose.
The first comeback that I would like to talk about, and this was one that I didn't think we would ever see, and that is Dexter: New Blood.
No.
10 episodes and long time no spree. Dexter was first released as a series of books starting in 2004's Darkly Dreaming Dexter, which was adapted in 2006, starring Michael C. Hall in the role. The show was praised by critics, and it very quickly found a strong loyal fan base and grew a cult following over the first few seasons. Dexter ran from 2006 until 2013 with 96 episodes in total, but unfortunately for the show that was held in such high esteem, it garnered the reputation for having one of the worst endings to a series ever made.
Yes.
Bad.
This goes along with maybe... I don't want to list all the other ones that are up there because we'll never...
No. Dexter's ending was...
It was one of the biggest flops, essentially.
Yeah.
Pretty much reviled by everyone.
It's a very painful decline in quality over
I enjoyed 1 all the way through to 5. 6 and 7 were wobbly, but I didn't mind.
Which one, spoilers, ended with when his wife was
5.
found dead. Okay.
I think, or was it 4?
I think
it was.
Right.
I think you're right.
It might have been into 4. Or
I think 6.
That's where I checked out. That's where it started to go downhill for me.
Yeah.
And I love me some John Lithgow.
Yeah, John Lithgow was
fantastic. And he was just about keeping my head above water on that one.
Sure, I mean, I was always in the show for Dexter. I was fascinated by the character. I loved the world that he was in, and watching the escalation, de-escalation of each season.
Yeah.
And I loved that the different actors that they brought in to play the nemesis in each season. Even though I was upset with some of the choices they made in the finale of Dexter, I was happy with where he was at the end. The lumberjack ending.
I loved it. What was the name of the black cop who was surprise motherfucker?
Surprise motherfucker!
Yeah.
Fucking great. Just
and
awesome.
So bringing this show back after having such a bad ending, now the writers of the show, the producers, Michael C. Hall, everyone involved knew they fucked it up because everybody told them how much they fucked it up. So they knew that this was Dexter ending 2.0. They knew the stakes. They knew everyone was waiting to see how they were going to do this. And now, I don't want to spoil the ending for the show. I don't want to get into it. But as a one and done, there's no second season of New Blood. It's 10 episodes and it's over. The ending, I thought, was foreshadowed throughout the season. For me, it was a logical conclusion to the entire show. I was very happy with where they've left things.
Aliens.
Secret daughter.
Secret clone daughter.
Great comeback. And I will tell you, it was one of those shows that kept me until 3-4 o'clock in the morning, because it's one of those where it has a cliffhanger that you're like, God damn it, I need to find out how that scene plays out in the next episode. And it plays out pretty quickly, but then you're already there for the next hour. It was a real binge watch, glorious show, and I know the ending is split fans all over again. But
I'd heard that.
What ending doesn't nowadays, though? Let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. But very happy with it. But that was my first pick.
That's great. I am glad I've not watched it because again I was like, fool me twice, Dexter.
Sure.
Honestly, I just had it came back and I was like, do you know what? Part of me is like glad it's back, but also I was literally like, I got nothing left for this guy. I'm sorry, and I like the actor. I like that Michael C. Hall. He has had a few. It probably contributed towards it. Like recently, he's done a few things for like Netflix. Safe was a really good season. That British drama where he's in that.
Yes.
Have you watched it?
I haven't seen it. I've just
great. Where he's in like a gated community and his daughter goes missing. It's along the same lines as like The Stranger and stuff like that. Yeah. Those Netflix dramas. So yeah, I'm kind of glad it's back, but I'm just like no. I'm just not going to bother.
Fair. Yeah.
My number 5 is Robert Downey Jr.
Nice. He was an honourable mention for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason that he's on my list of top is because he's in the last 10 years, he's given me so much as Iron Man. Dude, I watch Endgame several times a year, and I'm not even sorry because I love it. I love the conclusion of that 10-year saga and the ending with the snap. It will put me into tears every time. It's wonderful. But as a comeback, I think a lot of people of certain ages won't really understand what it meant for Robert Downey Jr. to come back in 2008 as to play Iron Man. So I mean, background, like Robert Downey Jr. was born in 1965. His dad, Robert Downey Sr., obviously, and his mother, Elsie Ford, were both in the industry. His dad was a director.
Yeah.
And he talks about, very candidly, he's very open about how he was introduced to drugs by his dad at around age 6.
Damn.
And feels that he was addicted to drugs by about the age of 8. And was just constantly surrounded by sort of weed and coke all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he sort of said it was a way for him to connect with his dad.
That would be an amazing movie of a Robert Downey Jr. baby just walking around a house full of weed and coke.
And Disney could de-age him that much.
It's just his head on a baby's body.
I love you 3000 and just walks off like. So he spent a lot of time obviously working in his dad's movies and stuff, and he eventually he dropped out of school to go and work on SNL.
Nice.
So Saturday Night Live, obviously huge, and this is in 1985 when it's at
oh my god, that was height of his coke. He supplied the coke.
He probably did. Yeah, he wasn't ever going to run out, but 85 was sort of heralded as like the worst season ever, unfortunately. Right. So, and this is where these spirals come in for him. Do you know what I mean? So he did end up, obviously there's so much success in the 80s for him doing things like, you know, Less Than Zero, Weird Science and everything like that, you know. So, and this is the funny thing is, despite a comeback, it's not like he's ever been necessarily blacklisted by Hollywood.
No, it was. I mean, a lot of people just refused to work with him.
It was so I'll come to it, but but this is the thing: is a lot of it. Yeah, and a lot of it was directors taking a punt on him because at that stage of his career, he had insurance clauses written into his contract because. You know, he was dealing with drug addiction all the way through the 80s, where his manager actually forced him into rehab in 1998, which he completed, came out of, and then fired her for.
Wow.
And then continued into, again, it just spirals into the 90s, but in the 90s he's doing films like Chaplin and getting Oscar nods for it. You know what I mean? So it's like the work is always there, but he's kind of allergic to his own success at this point.
Kind of like Philip Seymour Hoffman. They are so good at what they are doing acting, but behind the scenes they are
functioning addicts.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's arrested several times. He was sent to rehab by the court. He escaped. He goes to prison again. There was a famous arrest in 96 where he was caught speeding down Sunset Boulevard with coke, heroin, and a free 57 Magnum.
I remember because it was around that time he got written out of Ally McBeal.
That was exactly. I was just about to say, in 2000 he was praised for Ally McBeal, but then arrested for possession again and fired. A neighbour in Malibu found him in his house, curled up naked in bed.
I am Iron Man, baby.
Yeah, I know, right? It's all coming together, isn't it?
This is the reason why Favreau went, there's no one else on the planet that can immortalise that role other than Robert Downey Jr., which is why he was so good in the role, because he is himself.
Little bit, man. You know, I mean, by the time he was in Gothika and Zodiac, this is when he had insurance clauses written into his contract, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had issues with Fincher on the set of Zodiac.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fincher was like, take 57.
Yeah,
you know, he's
at this point he's still in that kind of state. But in 2003, he met his soon to be wife, Susan Levy, and that's That's where it
mellowed
starts.
him out. Or
She's basically her rules were like, I will marry you, but no drugs.
right.
And he was like, okay, that's it. And that's where the drugs were kicked in the head. And exactly as you said, in 2008, Jon Favreau's like, that's Iron Man.
Everyone was
and
like, no.
It was heralded as literally the riskiest movie ever made.
Tropic Thunder is fucking brilliant.
Dude, Tropic Thunder is amazing.
Tropic Thunder is amazing.
I love that movie. I shouldn't like that movie because you can't deny that it's like, God, everyone is fighting for... No, it's not the offensive thing. It's just everyone's fighting for screen time.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise's dance.
Oh,
stole the whole movie.
No, but it is so offensive because it's saying things that you would never really get away with saying unless somebody probably highlighted it. So he's playing a black character in this movie, and everybody was fine.
He's actually not. He's playing a New Zealand character. He's the dude who dresses the dude who's being another dude.
But everybody in the movie is fine with him getting this pigmentation put in and accepting it until people start to say, no, it's not okay.
And it was like, well, he's really blonde and blue-eyed under that, isn't he? Oh, that's a tooth drop. Yeah. But anyway, so obviously I mean, the rest, as you say, is history. He goes on with Iron Man and to then star in the most successful franchise possibly of all time, arguably, critically or whatever. But see, I caught some of that the other day. That is not a good film.
It is not good.
Donna really likes it. I was watching it for about 20 minutes and be like, why?
His accent is so bad. I'm like, this is Iron Man, and how did they let his
Welsh multi-picture deal?
His Welsh accent is possibly more offensive than him doing blackface. I'm sure, but yeah, as it comes to a comeback, I think it's kind of taken for granted by a lot of people now that Robert Downey Jr. He's Iron Man. He's that megastar. It's like no idea what came before it. So fist bumps to Robert Downey Jr.
Hell yeah. He's still entertaining so much, and he is, even though he plays himself in everything, he holds the screen so well, so charismatic.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen him get punched by Mike Tyson?
No.
In the movie Black and White, it's a really kind of off the wall kind of documentary type movie, but he's playing this gay director who interviews Mike Tyson and really puts it off to Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's just like, if you don't stop, I'm going to punch you. And he's like, really? And
YouTube clip, please.
Yeah, I'm seeking that out.
Yeah, it's a great movie. So.
Well, in your first comeback.
So are we still on 5? Because I was feeling Tyson Fury.
But our last one is combined, so this will actually work out.
Okay,
you start your first one, dude.
Well, I'm going to throw out a date, and I want everybody to try to think of what they were doing, where they were at this time. Okay, so June 2002. Do you remember where you were?
Well, okay. Well, bear in mind, I know that your list is to do with wrestling.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume
this is the Shared House era.
This is the Shared
House.
House.
Oh my god! The 2002 is a blur of alcohol.
I was just about to say that I assume I was probably watching what you're about to talk about, but probably next to this one. And you, but don't remember anything about it. Really.
Physically in the room.
June 2002 was an era which just amazed us. I mean, there's another incident that happened just prior to this, but I figured I'd start with this one because it's a good one. The return of Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, on Raw.
I was laying on the couch with a broken kneecap, which was your fault.
Yes, but that was Well, actually, it was the puddles. Fault because you slipped on it, but I was involved. But so Shawn Michaels, Michael Hickenbottom, the Heartbreak Kid, the main eventer of WWE, he had taken a serious back injury back in January 1998.
Yep.
Flew over the top ropes, hit his back on a solid wooden coffin, and basically just damaged his vertebrae. And when I was researching this, I was thinking back of how I felt at that point, and in 1998 when somebody hurt their back, that was really it. If you hurt your back,
you were out.
Surgeries were not as sophisticated as they are now, for sure.
Right, exactly. Now Shawn Michaels did try to make a comeback in late 1999, but he was heavily into drink, drugs, painkillers.
It was a persona comeback rather than it wasn't an in-ring.
Yeah, no, they could
like, can you throw a super kick? Yeah, okay, then we can put you in this segment.
They could barely control him, and he admits this. He'll admit in interviews now he was a dick. And then he goes off for a while, he finds Jesus, and when he comes back, not only do people not know if he can actually pull off a match, but they don't know, like, if he does, how long can they go with it for? Because once he did get into the ring and he returned at SummerSlam against Triple H, who, I mean, spoilers, secretly that's another one of the comeback numbers, but the two of them going into the ring at SummerSlam, I remember at the time was like, this is an unsanctioned match.
Yeah.
WWE are not involved. These two could cripple each other, and it was a big fucking deal. You know, we didn't know if Shawn Michaels could actually survive it.
This is where we're watching it, and every time he takes a bump on his back, we're like,
oh my god,
oh shit, because it was a real thing, wasn't it? You know, the back injury was not faked. It was he's been accused of faking a lot of injuries in his time, but mostly they're not dropped titles, but still,
you know, like over the time he'd rested it had worked out the surgeries and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, like we said, we kept seeing him go over the rope. Now he would continue from 2002 then till 2009 to when he goes up against Undertaker at WrestleMania, and then 2010 would be his final match. And I just, for like I said, for the first comeback story, I tried to think of good comebacks in TV and film, but that one for me was like
wonderful.
Yeah, I remember the crowd pop, like when this music came on and everyone was like, "No way!"
Yeah.
That energy, it really builds and delivers that comeback. And yeah, Shawn Michaels was one of the greats, and then came back as a great.
Well,
I think that, I mean, watching that match, when you're talking about that comeback match in particular as well, is I think that Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer of all time, and for a 5-year absence, you're like, seconds into the match, you're like, he's not missed a beat.
Yeah.
That's someone who's doing the thing they were put on this earth to do at the highest level. It's like, the guy's not missed a beat. There was a spot in the match where he's got Triple H out on a table and he climbs the top rope to throw the elbow for him on the outside, and he kind of looks at the crowd and does this, like, why am I doing I'm doing this? Stupid, and just whip, bang, hits it, because he can't miss. He's just
I saw an interview recently on the Ruthless Aggression stuff where Triple H actually had spoken to Shawn Michaels' mum before they'd gone out, and the mum had just given him this look, and he was just like, "I'll do my best.
I'll look after your boy.
To look after your boy."
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Shawn Michaels, baby.
And what came from that as well was then, like, that huge resurgence, like you said, in his career, to go in from having one match to having another match to then, like, I mean, I think
being written into the main storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he had the match, I think when he had the match with Jericho, at WrestleMania, that was, he's fucking back.
Ric Flair at WrestleMania. Then we get 2 matches against Taker, which arguably the first one is better than the second one,
but the second one's
the
better.
fact that we have the second one, which is just as good.
I know everyone says that WrestleMania 25 was the better match out of the two, but I'm like, maybe it is because it's his last match at 26. I actually prefer 26, but I'm like, they're 2 of the greatest matches of all time. I'll take either all day,
Nice. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, moving on to my number 4, my 4th pick for a comeback, and again, it's a bit of a big bracket. This one for me, it's Star Trek.
Yes.
And I'll go with the motion picture for Star Trek's comeback, its first comeback, now also known as the original series Star Trek TOS. It started in 1966 and ended in 69 with 80 episodes that screened almost daily on syndication. But Trek did get a cartoon continuation in 73, but it was really 10 years after the last episode was made that the motion picture arrived. In 79, and then The Wrath of Khan in 82. For me, The Wrath of Khan in 82 is the real Star Trek comeback. It changed everything.
The motion picture was basically just shots of the Enterprise.
Oh yeah, and it's glorious, but it was the fact that Star Trek didn't just have a comeback, it come back in film format, and with the bombastic soundtrack and then the Wrath of Khan action, Star Trek was back in a pretty big way. And then Star Trek did have another massive comeback again in the 80s, 1987, with The Next Generation. And Trek has continued to have comebacks of sorts today, which again, it's another one of those things that has very much split the fan base, with the Kelvin movie timeline and and the current series. But I mean, Trek in 2022 it's continuing to enjoy its legacy with 5 TV shows in production at one time. You know, the Trek universe has got Discovery, Brave New Worlds, Picard, the Voyager one, and Lower Decks. There's two cartoon ones, the 2 animated ones. So, like, Trek is now, it's now back in more avenues than it ever has been. So it is its third comeback.
Yeah. I did say this to him when he showed me his list, and he was just like, Star Trek the motion picture. I was like, really? He said, yeah, it's been like 10 years since the original series. And then my mind started to jump from all of these, we're going to release some films, then we'll stop, then we'll release a series, then we'll release some films, then we stop, then we do this, then we do that. And I'm thinking, you know what, how does Star Trek do it? How does it go, hey, we're making a new series, and everyone goes, awesome.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Yeah, but in a way, it's a good decision, because it's kind of like you could not make Star Trek for anything for 10 years, and if someone said, "I've got an idea of like making a Star Trek thing," if someone in the room goes, "Who's going to watch it?" It's like 1 billion people.
Yes,
Star Trek's got that following.
But that's the thing. It's like the TV series. Somehow the TV series succeeds for its nostalgia and the way, obviously, everything that it presents. Then you get the movies, and Star Trek motion picture, if Linda's in the chat, she'll back me up. We used it a couple of weeks ago because it was late at night and neither of us could really get to sleep. And I always say that movie is so boring. It's like anesthesia.
That's because sometimes the dialogue is all monotone.
Flick Star Trek on.
And that's what
I'm going to sit here and count Enterprises.
That's what I did, man. I went and I got Star Trek motion picture. We didn't even get out of Space Dock. We didn't even get the Enterprise
sequence. Yeah, it's
because like we were lying there in bed and the music's playing. Now I don't know if you've seen motion picture recently. Music plays, but there's nothing on screen.
Yeah, just the Enterprise.
No. The beginning of motion picture. Seriously, I watched it.
It's just a black screen.
It's just a black screen of classical music, kind of building up. Then the film kicks in with the opening credits. Then you get the whole Klingon sequence so it's literally nothing but audio for like 15 minutes, and it's so relaxing. Because when you compare it to like Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, it's blasters, fuse, everything gets more actiony, and I think Star Trek really succeeds, and I knew this when I watched Deep Space Nine, that it really, really works when you go back to the stuff you get with motion picture.
Yeah.
When you get lots of just long winding corridors of
there's different Trek for everybody now.
Yeah,
there's literally Trek for everyone now.
It's, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, fucking hell. Even last year, Captain Kirk actually went into space.
Yes. What a story.
That's where we
that was amazing.
For fuck's sake.
That was amazing.
Isn't that crazy? I loved Deep Space Nine because, I loved the whole, this is the perfect setting for, a villain of the week show with a beautifully articulate overarching sort of theme to a series. It was fantastic. Loved it.
Andy, you're number 4.
So my number 4 is one that's pretty much defined my childhood and has come back this year in a wonderful way, which is Masters of the Universe.
Okay. I'm not attached to this at all, so it's a comeback that
I was the kid running around in my pants yelling, I have the power. Oh my god, fucking loved
the He-Man pants. You had the He-Man pants, right?
No, I put red ones on because that's what he wore.
He wore fur pants.
I can't remember.
So how was this new comeback show?
Anyway, so Masters of the Universe, again, I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about.
No, I know the Kevin Smith connection is strong.
Oh, but absolutely. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. There is 2 current shows, but I'm mainly talking about Revelations.
Yes.
But, again, from a comeback standpoint, though, so basically, He-Man is a show that was based on a toy line. So it's a Mattel toy line that basically Mattel didn't want to make Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
But what they did want to do is build their own character that could be a spaceman, an army man, or a feral sort of beast, man, basically, like a barbarian. So they did end up actually getting a contract to do toys for the Conan movie. But when they saw the Conan movie, they were like, this is way too fucking violent for a Mattel product. Conan changed scenes in their own movie because they figured Mattel toy deal, and Mattel were just like, no, we can't. And then they released He-Man anyway, and Conan movie was like, the fuck? And genuinely sued them. So there, and that was settled. But it was a funny little beginning to the whole thing. So 82 to 88, we had the huge success of the TV show, and this was my childhood. Now, and I always thought that the toys were from the series. It was obviously the other way around. The show was there to sell more toys. That's all Mattel wanted.
Cartoons were.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is more about, again, like the comeback of the actual show, because the toys have never really gone away for a huge amount of time, because Mattel through the years since 88 of 82 even have kind of just released like legacy versions of it. You can buy a subscription service to get like a Master Universe like per month sort of figure and everything like that. So again, there was a huge success from that. They end up making She-Ra, the sister series, if you will, obviously
New
the
Adventures
sister and everything
of
like
He-Man,
that.
that's what I love.
I'll get to that. She-Ra put another 230 more toys out, and we had The Secret of the Sword, which was like the crossover animated movie, which again, when I was a kid, was life. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then it spawned also a huge amount of knockoffs as well. Like, you couldn't go anywhere like a pound shop without finding some kind
of barbarian figure with arms fell off.
He person, or something like that. Yeah, it would fucking break the second you opened it. So funny, We had the film. Dolph Lundgren, fresh off of Rocky 4, which was hilarious, really, when you think about that. Dolph Lundgren goes from like a fucking killer, really, in Rocky 4 to playing the hero of heroes, So that was a bit of a weird move. It was a good journey. He damn near bankrupted a studio, so it made 17 million from its 22 million budget. So anyway, back to the drawing board they go. And the 90s, like you said, we got the first reboot in an actual cartoon form, and that was a continuation of the original series, where Prince Adam is sent to the future by the last surviving sort of humans to help save them, and Skeletor just pimples along, because of course he would, and somehow becomes a cyborg, and then spaceships, and it went for one season, and it was fucking terrible.
And it was so hated, and I was like, fuck yo, He-Man's the best, and I want more He-Man.
They put He-Man in blue jeans. It was so weird. Man, it was fucking, it was weird. So again, they continued 92 to like 2001. They kept doing these commemorative releases to just, a lot of it was sort of like to test the water, to do that. And then in 2002 we got the animation, the animated series, and we watched this at the house together.
Skeletor gets acid thrown in his face to show his power.
They totally flipped it to make it, this is about the same time that they redid Thundercats as well.
Yes, they did a redo,
and they made it, I say darker, like basically they took King Randor and turned him into like a kind of, he becomes king, but he's more of a military general. And Skeletor is actually his brother. And there's he fucking throws acid at the dude, and he's like, kapow! And Skeletor takes it right in the face. And just becomes Skeletor. It's that simple, basically.
They're still on the world with magic, so that it's really easy just to keep intertwining while Adam gets the sword.
Right on.
Like you said, they brought it up to date because you dropped Thundercats at that point. Turtles had a regeneration of a new series as well. So it was like, oh, we can do all this. I think at the same time, fucking G.I. Joe would just come out with their movies, and those would flop. So they were like, look, He-Man will just away.
It was just weird. I mean, like I said, it was only like they were going to bring Hordak into it, because it was Keldor originally that he fought and became Skeletor, and then they were going to bring Hordak into it and everything, which would have been probably amazing, but after 2 seasons it was just dropped. So that was it. That was the last time we'd seen it. Now, in 2019 at PowerCon, which I love the fact that there's fucking He-Man conventions. I didn't even know about this. Kevin Smith announces Masters of the Universe Revelations, which is going to drop on Netflix. It's 1 series in 2 parts. First of all, when I talk about a comeback, because I will point out now, this has been critically, it's got fantastic reviews, so this is why it's a legitimate comeback. There's a lot of shit on the internet. Because a lot of people were pissed that it didn't focus on He-Man as much as Teela. So, whatever. Well, really.
What's the show called?
He-Man Revelations.
It's called Masters of the Universe Revelations. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. It's not called fucking He-Man. But anyway, the ironic thing is, they managed, in my opinion, they may push He-Man to the side, but what they do with the He-Man character, by kind of turning He-Man into this entity that's like a spiritual protector of Eternia, is pretty fucking amazing.
I think always the problem, and I think a lot of people might have missed this with this new series, was Prince Adam is pretty much a useless character when you think about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
He turns into He-Man all the time.
Yeah.
And from what we gather from the 84 from the 82 84 TV series, you know, he had to use a sword to turn himself into it, and then he would turn himself back. Teela does not know.
But was
about this.
always built like a brick shit house.
Yeah. Well, not in Adam form. In Adam form,
Yes, he was. In the original series, he was just wearing a pink shirt. That was it. The figure was the same figure. It was so funny.
But as the series developed, they tried to give Prince Adam and He-Man.
They tried to divide it a lot more.
Two separate characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Revelations, they managed to bring it back that now Adam and He-Man are one, and are trying to explain the powers a bit more, which I really loved as well. You know, the fact that they focused on Teela, and Teela was voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I'd say I'll give you a very quick rundown, because this is this was one of the biggest things that came out of it, is when they announced the voice cast, where you've got Mark Hamill as Skeletor, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela,
God, yeah. Stephen
Root playing Cringer, which I love, you know. And don't get me wrong, they have the Smith crew in there, Jason Mewes is in there, Justin Long is in there, Ralph Garman's in there as Fisto. Oh my god, when he drops like, man, I'd love to fist him, I was dead. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, Lena Headey is fucking Evil Lynn.
Yeah, who's incredible.
Nice.
The backstory of Evil Lynn.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so fucking dark, dude. Like, you get a full-on flashback where Evil Lynn is basically saying, so this is how I escaped my cannibalistic parents.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, you fucking what?
Oh, and I might
Like,
have been beaten and kind of tortured and raped for a little while.
Yeah,
Skeletor was kind of super evil.
Yeah.
Like
oh, yeah, is it Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah,
basically,
she's like
you know
the
what I mean?
Harley Quinn to his Joker.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
It's a great parallel. I mean, yeah, Kevin Conroy's in it, Henry Rollins is in it,
Nice.
Alan Oppenheimer, who played Skeletor, is Mossman in it, which is just wonderful. But so yeah, we get this, 2-season split. I mean, the first one. I mean, spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it, I suppose you don't mind if I.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, He-Man dies like straight away, killing Skeletor as well at the same time. It takes all magic out of the universe basically by splitting the source of power. But essentially when you're but by the time you get to the end, but when you watch, initially it's like they're fucking dead.
No, but I saw that initially because this is a world of magic.
No, I know,
and
but
if you're going to kill off He-Man, then you might as well just kill the series off in the first episode. He's bound to come back. The magic's going to bring back. We just need to explain
you know that, but because it happened so early,
the
it's such a
to the sorceress, the sorceress of Grayskull.
Man, the sorceress and like Grayskull being like a construct, which is like really like the Hall of Wisdom and stuff like that. She's put over. It's phenomenal. The story between Teela and her relationship with Duncan, Man at Arms,
that was good.
Is way more complicated and just beautifully sort of like develops over it, man. Orko's fucking Gandalf in this thing, Orko comes back as one of those like you have no idea how powerful this dude is until he realizes how powerful he is, and again, like the premise of He-Man being like this guardian entity of Eternia, I loved that. Skeletor becoming basically master of the universe at the end of the first season. I loved it, and for like I watched it, I binged it both as soon as they dropped. I just sat there and watched it because, again, nice and tight. Was it like 5 or 6 episodes?
I think like 7 or 8.
But again, they're short. They're like 30-minute episodes, so you can just like hammer through these, which is fantastic. So for something that I loved as a child, and like I said, really went away, and we never got really a satisfying sort of and again, sorry to mention, this is a follow-on from that original series.
What I thought was funny was the first season of Revelations dropped. It got hit with massive backlash, and then all of a sudden Netflix snuck out this new Masters of the Universe TV
strange,
series,
like weird animated,
which is like massively kiddish, and just avoids all the dark tales. So then when you get Revelations season 2, you enjoy the story a lot more because this other He-Man was just
I realised something that goes along with that fucking who you gonna call shit.
Ghostbusters.
No, I'm on He-Man.
Well, okay.
So it's the same kind of thing. There's an absolutely phenomenal moment in the first episode where you remember like Cringer becomes Battle Cat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Cringer's there, and like I think they're having a celebration at the castle, and like fucking fireworks going off, Cringer's underneath the thing, everything like that, and Man at Arms just like, you will never see Battle Cat. And I flipped. I was like, shit, that's funny.
Nice.
Absolutely brilliant. I love it. I'm going to rewatch that tomorrow. I think I'm just going to binge the whole thing.
Is it
well, yeah, you're number
Four?
Yeah.
Okay. So January 7th, 2002, kind of the same era. Like I said, we got us guys would have been living in the house together, and
Still sat on the couch.
Triple H had just torn his quad muscle in the December of 1999. He'd been wrestling with Stone Cold Steve Austin. The two of them had joined forces. This was like a massive turning point because Triple H is like heel central. He's been running fucking the business since. So he's finished with D-Generation X in 98-99.
Yeah, this is where he's now come out as like, I'm going to be the next guy with Austin. And
he started working with Stephanie, and that's obviously put him in Vince's corner. You know, next moment he's winning championships. He's GMing the shows. Like, he's a big fucking deal. Then all of a sudden, bang, injury. He gets carried off. The sickest thing as well is when people talk about his injury, he wrestled the rest of that match.
Finished that match.
So he could have torn his leg to pieces at any point because he's he's holding the Boston Crab, he's holding the guy's legs, he gets clotheslined in the back, tears his leg muscle, carries on wrestling, and then he's got to go off and heal up. He comes back in January, and like I said, we're getting Shawn Michaels come back for summer.
Mm-hmm.
But when January hits and his music hits, I remember I think it was you or somebody else come running up to me like, Triple H has returned, and we're like, what?
Yeah, they posted it like the week before or something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, and he comes out, he's huge. Rocking this new denim leather jacket moment,
Oh, he's rocking the dad like leather jacket with the cut off denim over the top of it.
He's just ultimate beef mode, and I'd always been a massive Triple H fan, but then at the same time, when he turned evil, I was just like, oh, fuck him. Fuck him. I couldn't care. Undertaker all the way. Screw this. But then when Undertaker disappeared, and Austin's disappeared, Shawn Michaels has disappeared, you're thinking, what the hell? So when you hear this music hit, and he's coming out, he would go on. And it was funny, I went with this injury, because after this, he has like 3 or 4 more injuries.
Oh, yeah, he keeps fucking them legs up, doesn't he? Yeah.
The tear of the muscle at Saudi Arabia.
Tore his pec.
Yeah, in the first 5 minutes of the match, and Shawn Michaels then had to
somehow not the worst thing that happened in that match.
Shawn Michaels carries the next 15 minutes of the match on his own because Triple H can't raise his arm. This guy has gone through so much, and yet it's that pinnacle moment that I just remember because it just reminded me, like, anybody can get injured. But as soon as they come back, you've got to really, really take it for what it is, because they could go off again and then they come back. When he was with Evolution, absolutely hated him, but loved it. As soon as the music hit.
Yeah, the burial years where he just buried it. The interesting thing as well about that is like when you talked about like the Shawn Michaels one, and like you said, where a lot of people think the best returns is when someone just rocks up out of nowhere, like someone's music pops out of nowhere and it's huge. Yeah. But the fact that they telegraphed this one, it was like weeks of like, here's him. They showed the surgery. They showed like the leg cut open and everything, and showed it exactly.
So they didn't hype it the same way. It's always when it's unexpected, like the Rumbles. When somebody comes out and you're like,
and it's a great part of the Rumble, and what makes it so interesting is part of the reason that like the Rumble's great. I mean, it's on next week. It's great for like casual fans to watch because it's got that. But I've got to admit, man, when he came out, and bear in mind this is the last segment of the show.
Yeah.
The fucking noise that was made in Madison Square Garden, like watch it on YouTube.
They always say it lifts the roof, doesn't it?
There's a Road Warrior pop, man. Oh my god. You can't describe it. It's kind of like, he stands there, the music's playing, even JR on commentary says something like, this is the longest sustained roar I've ever heard. You go on YouTube and watch it, Triple H Returns 2002, because it's just, you can just feel that it was built up perfectly, because that crowd, the majority of that crowd, I was watching that Raw to see that return. I can't tell you anything else that happened on that Raw. I was watching that Raw to see him come back, and I guarantee you that, because it was in Madison Square Garden, which is the home of WWE, I'm sure it was Madison Square Garden, that crowd, the majority of them would have been there to see that man just turn up and come back. Yeah. And it was magic. It really was.
The funny thing is, I think
all he did was pedigree Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle came out to because Kurt Angle's
he comes out and he does his interview, but then he it goes on into the Rumble, because I'm on the 2002 kind of pay-per-views at the moment. He comes back at the Rumble. He wins the Rumble. He wins the Rumble.
He beats Jericho for the title at Mania.
Yeah, but he loses to Jericho. He loses a match prior towards that would make him the number one contender.
Right.
And it's Stephanie who backstabs him because she
was with Jericho, wasn't she? When he was
yeah, they were going to renew all their vows and things like that. So you got this whole history of the story as well going into it, where this guy just had this one injury. We never thought he'd come back, and then he comes back and manages to continue to run this business to heights.
It was great as well, because obviously it was one of those things where he left as a heel. You know, as again, like they were doing the 2-man power trip where it was him and Austin, and they were just wailing everyone with chairs and cheating to win, and he loses. And when he come back, I mean, he was like battering Lita over the head with a fucking chair, for God's sake. When he came back, it was like, we don't care, it's all forgiven. Just cut, and oh man, he come back in some of the best shape that you've ever seen him in. And then had an amazing comeback story with Chris Jericho that culminated with him winning the Undisputed Champion at WrestleMania again.
Yeah.
Fucking dropped it to Hulk Hogan. Stupid fucking mistake. Yeah.
Nice shout out.
Watch that fucking video.
Yeah. Alrighty, so my number 3. Back to the movies with this one. This comeback for me is Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
A franchise of 3 films that have been nearly dormant for 30 years.
Yes.
It exploded on cinema screens in 2015 and is possibly the best one in the entire series, if not one of the best action films of the last 2 decades. And without a doubt, in my opinion, one of the greatest action films of all time. This film went through all the development hell that any film that you can think of went through. And George Miller wanted to bring back Gibson in the role, but if you know at the time, that was when Hollywood had pretty much outed Gibson for all of his public slandering that he had done.
So it turns out he did need another hero.
Well, yes. Yeah. And he brought in Tom Hardy, who I think he'd done Bane at that point, or was about to do Bane, because the whole mask.
Yeah, it was a weird development time. It was one of those movies that when it dropped, it was like, oh, of course, Tom Hardy's huge. And it's like, I don't think he was when they started filming this, because it took a long time to get out, right?
He'd done Bronson at this point.
He'd done
so
Bronson.
Everybody knew him for Bronson.
Yeah, but he, size-wise, I don't know that he was coming
Warrior?
off of Bane, man.
No, because the size...
It might have been Warrior, because he'd slimmed down quite a bit by Mad Max.
True, yeah. I mean, it's not his movie. It's not Max's movie. We all know that he was the avatar for the audience to experience this road trip movie. It was Furiosa's movie, and well, as we know, Furiosa is getting its own movie now. So the Mad Max universe has been quiet since, but it is going ahead. I just think that Fury Road, I mean, even if you don't agree that it's one of the best action films ever, it definitely is one of the best chase movies ever.
No doubt.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
The fact that it was that vehicular destruction, and that it was all stunts. There was very little green screen.
Dude, they suspended that guitarist on crack from that rig and just was like, go nuts. Shooting fire and shit.
It's like, such an adrenaline trip, and for me that was just like, my God, Mad Max is back, and what a film. What a film.
It's incredible.
I didn't see it on the big screen, but when they were promoting that this was going to be released, I was like, I really want to watch it. I really like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I like Mad Max. I love Mad Max 2.
Yeah.
So give me more Mad Max. And then the film comes out, everybody goes, oh, it's not a Max movie, it's Furiosa. And, she literally just drives out in the middle of nowhere, turns around and drives back again. It's completely pointless, blah, blah, blah. And then when I sat down to watch it, the visuals just blew everything else away, because I'm like, this is real? How did he even accomplish half of this with that's CGI? That's totally CGI, but fucking what's his face? The guy from Joe. From the boy from
Nathan Jones. Oh, from About a Boy, whose name I can't remember.
From fucking Warm Bodies as well. He was
Beast in action.
He was just such a great character to latch onto that I forgot it wasn't mainly just following Max.
Yeah.
Then when you play Mad Max, the video game, and connect that to the film, it's like, oh yeah, this all totally makes sense.
For sure.
This whole universe is now self-contained into this little Fury Road.
So I think that was my number 2.
Great casting as well for like that stoic kind of like. I mean, put Tom Hardy in anything, I'll fucking watch it. But,
so that was my number 3.
Not Venom. Great. Fucking Let There Be Carnage.
I loved that movie.
Really?
I still haven't seen it yet. I like it.
Wait. Last weekend I finally sat down because I was like, right. Well, Jessica wanted to watch it anyway because she loved the first one. Dude, I fucking loved this movie. Jessica wanted to watch it. She loved the first one. I can't really take it to the cinema because it's 15, right? So I figured, but Eternals dropped. So we're going to watch Eternals, and then I'll rent Venom on Amazon. Groovy. So we'll watch Eternals. 2.5 fucking hours that movie is. I love all the movies, but I was like, that movie needed an hour chopping off.
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched that one yet.
I still enjoyed it. But it's just too fucking long. Yeah, it's just too long.
A lot of establishment of origin for their story.
Not even that. It's just
boring.
Did they clone their daughters?
There's a lot, maybe. The best bit is the very last thingy credit where Blade. So I'm just saying.
The moment the credits started, I was like,
I
was out of my seat.
So we watched Venom: Let There Be Carnage. That is a fun 90 minutes with a great script that's really funny. The bromance between Venom and fucking Eddie is at an all-time high.
I really want to see this
Venom is freaking hilarious in this movie.
I enjoy
this. Is the guy who doesn't like Be Kind Rewind, so I don't know why.
Because it's a fucking shit movie and you're an idiot.
Honestly,
mate, I really liked it. But like I said, again, I think a lot of it is because it's like, fucking, what are you trying to do here? It's Eddie with Venom.
Sony.
It's Carnage. No, but what I'm saying is, it's just don't fuck about, and they don't. It's just you've got Eddie. You establish fucking Carnage, and then they fight.
Yeah, but
then I'm good.
But the problem,
it's all good.
I'm watching it next week.
The Sony are trying
it's a great movie.
Sony are trying to make this story work so they can hold on to the franchise. That's why, obviously, you saw.
What's wrong with that?
Marvel should have the franchise.
They do have the franchise.
No, they don't. They don't have Venom.
They fucking will, because like
they
Tom
will.
Holland's in the spoilers. There's a tie into it, and also you've seen Far From Home, right?
Yeah.
Who was in it at the end?
J.K. Simmons.
Brock was in it at the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, it did.
In the after credit scenes of the new Spider-Man, you see
movie.
Tom Hardy is there.
Oh God, yeah. So there was a lot to take in that Spider-Man film.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, but that's interesting because somehow that was 2.5 hours.
I was still getting over that the Daredevil was in it. Like that. The film was on pause for like an hour after that.
Yeah, I was like
in my head. I watched it.
It was a great film. Tight 90 minutes, fucking fun.
Yeah, let's go on to your number 3. I think it is. I've lost count of numbers.
Fuck it, I'm putting Venom in there.
Well, yeah, after Spider-Man 3.
My number 3 is also wrestling related. Is Edge.
Nice. He was such a good performer.
Edge still is a great performer, which is wonderful. That's the comeback.
I take it back because before you get right into it, because Triple H and Edge were two of my favourite wrestlers in the Attitude Era, and I was just always
like some brood.
Edge went on because he was in Vikings, the TV show.
He was.
And I was like, oh great, I'll still get to watch this dude who I think's really good. And then when he did make his return to wrestling, I didn't miss the premiere match, but I did just tune in to watch one match, and I think he went off injured again during it, and I was just like, what?
They sold it. It's one of the. It's another one of those when you've got an established injury, it's a really easy way to work an angle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he basically, when he returns, the first thing that happens is Randy Orton RKO's him, which is by grabbing him by the neck and then hits him in the fucking back of the head. So it was like, no, the surgically repaired neck. The funny thing is, you know it's not a real injury when they attack an established injury, because if it was really gonna damage him, they wouldn't do it.
Sure.
So Edge, Edge's career started with in a tag team with him and his kayfabe fake brother Christian. Eventually moving into like the Brood with Gangrel, which is like this gothic group. They'd come up out of the stairs. Gangrel was like a vampire. This is wrestling again, folks, so stay with us.
Yeah, stay with us.
He'd spit fucking blood in the air and everything like that, and so eventually it's tale as old as time. Edge eventually becomes a single star.
Yeah.
And he does what most of them do. He starts moving up the ranks. He starts going into like the mid card, where he's like an intercontinental champion, which is like say one below heavyweight champion.
We always knew he was going to be big.
You're like there's no way this guy doesn't become it. But sometimes guys his size. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I've stood next to him. He's a big dude, but you know, in the world of wrestling, he was never like a John Cena or a Triple H. So it's a bit harder for those guys to break in. But he's the guy who's doing all those amazing ladder matches with like the Hardys and the Dudley Boys. So when you talk about the level of physicality that he's going through, this obviously is going to go towards those injuries. So in 2003, he suffered a legitimate neck injury. He was mid-card and he was IC champ at the time. He was wrestling Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown, and he took a bump onto a ladder. I think it was a suplex. Landed on the ladder, and as he describes it, heard a crack, wasn't the ladder. Starts immediately, and also in the same match, he took a sunset flip off the top of the ladder onto the mat, which was just a large bump, put it that way. So that's where he starts feeling like, I think I might have a pinched nerve. And you gotta remember, like, wrestlers' work hurt all the time,
right?
So they don't. If I step on a Lego, I'm done for the day. Okay, I gotta stress that. So wrestlers don't tend to, you know. Don't tend to sort of like sell a lot of stuff like that. They're like, it's probably, he described it as a pinched nerve. Obviously went to actually so he starts getting numbness in his hands, goes to a doctor, and it's like, you got a herniated disc and bone spurs. So he has surgery then, you know, and he's fused. I can't go into the technicality of it, but he's fused in his neck. They go through the front, actually move your voice box to the side and fuse things. I know, cure sounds worse than the disease to me. I'm just like, no, I'll just live with it. But there you go. So he goes on to be an 11-time world champion at this point, and this isn't even the comeback, by the way, guys. You know, he goes on to be one of the most decorated champions of all time. I think in those 11 championships, I think 7 or 8 of them were like world heavyweight champion, which is the most anyone's ever held that particular title. He wrestled Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania 27, and the next night he comes out in 2011 and basically says that he's been advised that any further injury could result in quadriplegia or even death. So that's it. He's got to hang it up. So he has to give up the title, and that's him. No one knew this was coming. Like I said, he just successfully defended the title, so he knows he's retiring. They still kept the title on him. Do you know what I mean? Which is huge, really. Came out and had to relinquish the title and had to retire.
Grown men cried.
I'm still crying about it. It was but it was crazy. What's fucked up as well is that particular injury that he had. Sometime later, I don't know about the timeline, but sometimes later, Rey Mysterio, who's a good friend of his, was wrestling he wasn't wrestling for WWE at the time. He was wrestling in Mexico, and Rey does a move where he sets the opponent up onto the middle rope, so you fall forward and land on the middle rope. And he does this little kick off of it called 619, but that wrestler hit the rope, which they're not elastic bands, folks. You know, they're made of wire. Broke his neck in the exact same way that Edge did and died
in the match
instantly in the ring. You know, so just to hammer home how serious this injury was and why he had to retire. Do you know what I mean? So, like you said, he showed up a little bit. He came back to wrestling again, kind of like the Shawn Michaels thing. Like he helped Christian win the world title, little things like that. But only a little bit, and then he went off and he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Nice.
And then he went off and he was doing like Haven. Did Haven first, and then, like you said, went on to doing
Vikings. Vikings,
you know, dabbled in a little bit of that. He did the network show, Edge and Christian's show that reeks of awesomeness, which was just was really funny. It was like half kind of real interviews and then half just them fucking around and stuff. And like they even got Vince McMahon involved in it, which if he's in it, you know he's behind it, and you know it's going to be good. To be honest, so 9 years goes by with nothing basically other than these sporadic appearances, and SummerSlam 2019 just interrupts Elias, character at the minute, who comes out and plays a guitar and pisses the audience off and spears him, and no one knew this was coming, and we lost our shit because it was like, again, so he's back, still nothing. It wasn't like, oh, he's back or anything. So that's SummerSlam in 2019, so that's what, end of August, right? And then that's it. No confirmation that he'd been cleared or anything. January 2020, again, like we talked, the Royal Rumble. 30 men, every 2 minutes someone comes out. It's a random drawing, you know, but it's a great place where loads of people return. Like someone's music hits and it's like, bang, oh, we haven't seen this person for ages. When Edge's music hits, I'm going to try and do this without crying, the the look on his face when I mean, first of all, yeah, everyone went absolutely insane because no one knew this was happening, and that's hard to do now.
Yeah.
That's really hard because people will spot people going into building. It's similar to like when the Hardy Boys returned at WrestleMania, and they took him in from cars into the building like they were murderers with like towels over them. Get the fuck in, like, you know, didn't even tell the wrestlers they were going to turn up. So no one knew, and when he comes out, you can just see in his face how happy he is.
Yeah, he's
to
home.
finally be back and to do this. He comes into the Rumble, he hits a bunch of spears, invents, you know, eliminates a few people, and he goes out. And again, we were like, is that it? If he's back, then that was enough, and that was fucking great. You know what I mean? But the next night, that's where he comes out.
Yeah,
hits the RKO with his old partner Randy Orton, and that's it. You know, he's still going. I mean, and it took 8 surgeries.
To get
not to mention years of rehab at the age of 46, and I mean he is in great shape. I'm just to give you an example. I mean, I'm currently doing like a 10-week training program with a guy that I met at the boxing. He's a personal trainer, so I'm doing a 10-week program with him. And part of it is he said, like, send me a picture of like your ideal physique, what you'd love to get to if you could. And like back in the day, I'd send some meathead probably because I like lifting weights. But I sent him that picture of Edge, and he was like, "Why that?" I said, "Because that dude's in his 40s, and I'm coming up to 40. I want something sustainable."
Yeah.
And I think he looks phenomenal, you know, to be able to maintain that kind of look. So he comes back. There's, you know, matches in the pandemic era, obviously, where there were no crowds or anything. Yeah. Some good, some not. I think that match with him and Randy Orton is still going on. It was that long.
I still haven't watched that one.
I'd start now, but he come back and he won the 2021 Royal Rumble.
Amazing.
Headline WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, the biggest guy in the business right now.
Lost.
And Daniel Bryan, got pinned them both in one. It was like, whoo, people are mad.
Yeah,
but, you know, to come back and do that. And since then, he's been a focal point in the shows. He's fought Roman. He's brought the fucking Brood entrance back the last couple of pay-per-views. Comes up through the stage with the blood and everything, which is amazing. So I think seeing him as well in interviews where he's helped, like Rey Mysterio's son has come into it, and like helping him to because he came up through the pandemic era, and then like, you know, he had to start, like, you got to start wrestling in front of crowds again, which he was like, shit, you know,
how do I work a crowd?
Yeah, exactly. So
can't edit this together.
Again, you've got a guy there who's like a Shawn Michaels, where he's got this wealth of knowledge, and he's only going to improve your product by, like, anyone who gets in the ring with him is instantly going to get better.
Yeah,
nice.
And I think for what he's gone through, one of the greatest comebacks in wrestling of all time.
Man. Yeah.
Awesome. Ian, your second to last?
I was going to say, I've only got 2 left, and technically they follow the same guy, but I'm going to break them into 2 anyway because they just can. So, May 21st, 2000. Okay, so this is obviously before the house. You know, we're not even living together. We're still.
I don't even know you yet.
I think we're just just leaving school at this point, right?
Didn't you?
No.
The Undertaker had left wrestling for a while. Late 1999, he'd had a groin injury and was taken out. And so, like I said, we had followed Triple H's rise, Stone Cold Steve Austin's rise, and we'd been getting these awesome vignettes leading up, where these 3 little girls are fucking just talking about, you know, somebody coming, and we keep seeing this weird symbol, and we keep seeing this weird lightning, you know, like some people say you can easily spot it in the first few that they show, but I think it was so well done. It wasn't until the closer to Judgment Day, May 2000. You've got Triple H versus The Rock, Iron Man match. You know, they're going back and forth. The match is going crazy. The Rock,
DX is coming in.
Yeah, DX is coming. Vince McMahon is coming. The Rock is literally fighting everybody who is evil at that point, which was great for his character and great for, you know, Dwayne Johnson to be able to utilize. And then all of a sudden you see, just as the countdown is coming to the last few minutes of this match, you see, you know, the 3 girls appear on the little screen and they go, "He's here." Now, when you go on the network now...
Oh, mate, I just got chills because I remember it. It was so good.
When you go on the network now, the music has been changed. Because I'm thinking, because it's obviously copyright or time passes, WWE don't want to pay for it. But at the time, it was Kid Rock,
American Badass, wasn't it? Yeah. Which isn't it funny? He's in their fucking Hall of Fame, and they can't use his music.
Yeah, because I suppose they got to continue to pay him.
Music.
I mean, they've still got Fred Durst, rolling. You get rolling every now and again, but all of a sudden he comes bombing down in that motorcycle. And he hits the ring in the long black coat with the glasses.
And no one had seen the bike before, right?
No.
Because he was Phenom, scary Ministry of Darkness taker before he went away.
This was a complete change for his character.
Risky as all fuck.
Yeah.
You know, he's gone from this undead mortician who doesn't speak to now speaking.
He's a zombie, basically.
You know, and kind of having a brother who supposedly he may or may not have killed his parents with. You know, and then...
The storylines were crazy.
You know when people are like wrestling stupid, so it's really hard to defend.
And then he goes into this undead priest mode where he's trying to marry the daughter of the company, and then he disappears, and you're like, how is this even going to work? And this is why, like I said, this is one of two of his great comebacks, where coming down on that motorcycle, it was literally just him being a character, but it's him being the Undertaker, this American badass. He lays chokeslam after chokeslam towards everybody. He costs The Rock the match, but then immediately brings him in.
That was funny, wasn't it? The fact he saved him, but then they're like, DQ.
Yeah. But what was cool, this was this American badass character. He would then go on to the Brothers of Destruction, and he would also become Big Evil at some point, where we
got a lot more on the mic from him as well, which was great.
He was just talking, and then all of a sudden it was really recognisable that he was the locker room leader when we started getting the drafts, and they were splitting the two, you know, SmackDown and Raw, and people were like, well, we need Undertaker, you know, and you were like, I need to watch Raw because Taker's on it, or he's gone to SmackDown now. One of the craziest things with him was when he got taken out by Maven. And it's
the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and he just absolutely destroys Maven, and everyone's just like, that's okay.
Wait a minute. Sorry, was Maven the first
tough
TV? That's right.
Do you want to know something? I don't know if I think this only came up recently. You know that Maven was shit-faced.
What? Drunk in that match?
So Taker advised him, because he wanted to get cut open. Sorry.
Yeah.
Taker advised him to take aspirin because it thins your blood.
Right.
And Maven was so fucking nervous because it's big spot.
Yeah.
You know, that he started like, I'm gonna have a drink to relax. Mixed it with the aspirin, obviously, and he was like so like a lot of because after he eliminates him, Taker drags him around the arena and they beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
He said like you could tell Taker was pissed because he was just like fucking launching him into shit.
That was the end of that character.
Absolutely destroyed him. But yeah, so my number 2.
That was a brilliant comeback because
Judgment Day.
Like I said, that kind of to go from such an established character, and this is the genius of like, you know, the actual guy, you know, to realise, do you know what, the industry's changing, and I've got to change with it.
TV's
you know what I mean?
Look at how the audience that follow me, they are not following me.
You know, as a man, Mark Calloway realising I've got to do, and because he continues to do that throughout script, he's kind of like the Madonna. Yeah. The way that Madonna was like, I got to change up my acting and everything else. He's kind of a little bit like that in wrestling. Just giving me a
horrible image of Mark Calloway underneath his bed, like Madonna did.
Alrighty, we'll jump into my number 2. This is my last one before my shared final one with Andy. And for me, this is Rocky Balboa, also known as Rocky 6.
Yeah.
Now, Rocky 5 released in 1990, and for the most part was the last film in the Rocky series of films. Then it was in 2006, so 16 years later, we get Rocky Balboa. And the series has continued there with Creed and Creed 2, and maybe even a Creed 3 is coming down the line. Now, 30 years after the ring of the first bell of Rocky Balboa comes out of retirement, he dons his gloves for the final fight against the reigning heavyweight champ Mason "The Line" Dixon, and in my opinion Stallone pretty much did some of his best work in the 90s with Demolition Man, Cliffhanger, Copland, Daylight, and then the end of the 90s with some real shit movies like Get Carter, well actually Judge Dredd was at the beginning of the 90s as well, so he had some good and bad. But from like between 1997 and 2006, he didn't really appear in anything of note. You know, in that interim, he was in Spy Kids 3, Game Over.
Spy Kids, he's so
Las
bad.
Vegas TV series as Frank the Repairman. Taxi 3 as a passenger to the airport, uncredited, and so on.
Can I just ask as well, Spy Kids, was that Rodriguez.
Yes,
it
Rodriguez,
was, wasn't it?
yeah,
That was like the combination of that. I was sort of like, have I taken drugs? And I don't
right.
what?
He plays different versions of himself in that movie, so he's in different outfits. Stallone,
Yeah.
it's
So weird.
Yeah, and so for me, that was just like the era of
De Niro
Stallone
and
had
Rocky
just
Bullwinkle.
collapsed, and so and so for me, it was a big comeback for Stallone and for Rocky, and for me, Rocky Balboa was a very emotional movie for me.
Yeah.
Like watching this character nearly my whole life, and it was great to see Rock after the events of the last film, which never really sat right as well. With critics and fans, it wasn't a big swan song to go out on, was it?
I think it was at that point that he kept trying to kill him.
Yes,
he wanted Rocky to die at the end.
Yeah, but the studios wouldn't let him do it. And for me, we wanted just a little bit more closure on the Rocky character, and I think Rocky 6, Rocky Balboa really, really did that.
Yeah.
And I also think Stallone gave it his everything in that film. He really brought back the character graciously and sent him off triumphantly, even in defeat.
Yeah.
And it's just such a sweet bookend. And then you can have the Creed films if you want even more. But yeah, it's, that was my number 2.
I absolutely adore Rocky Balboa as a movie. I think it's the closest that you get to Rocky.
Yes,
the first one.
Yeah. And a modern setting as well.
In a more modern setting with, and again, it's a perfect way to use people like. It's always like you overuse nostalgia. Everyone overuses nostalgia. It's got the perfect amount of nostalgia with like Marie, for example, bringing back that character. And as soon as like you told me like screw you, creepo, and you're like, I literally remember that scene from the first one. That's amazing. But it's like they don't just hang their hat on it; they develop her as a character. Rocky playing his age, which I like follows through into the Creed movies with like the illnesses that he suffers and stuff like that as well.
The end of Rocky, I was very surprised that, after Rocky 4, you were like kind of sick and tired of the hero endings. Now with Rocky 5, he doesn't really have a hero ending because it's kind of a bad movie. Rocky Balboa was like, look, when we know you want a hero ending, but he just doesn't have one. Because he's done.
It was again, it's something that Scream 5 calls a requel, where they remake the original movie, but they do it differently. And he loses the fight in the first film, but he won because he went the distance.
But he
showed his heart. It was about the character.
In Balboa, he's got everything that we followed him from, which I really like, because you can watch Balboa and go, man, I'm going to watch Rocky 2 now. I'm going to watch Rocky 3. I need to watch the first one. Fuck it, I'm going to do Rocky 5. I'm going to do the whole series. Like you said, you don't have to do Creed 1 and 2 if you don't want to, but the fact that Stallone is smart enough and owns the rights enough to go, no, this is how I think the character is.
One, I gotta give it up to him for the age that he's at, the shape that he gets into for that is kind of more impressive than when he was in say Rocky 4, it's probably one of the greatest physiques anyone's ever built if you're into that kind of thing. But it's kind of more impressive what he does in Balboa because of his age and his limitations. Human growth hormones are a great thing, but whatever. I'm just saying, you still got to do the work. You know what I mean? The fucking speech he lays on his son has become one of the most iconic things in pop culture now as well, which is amazing. But I loved the style of the fight. Because it looks like a fight you would watch on TV, apart from the montage.
Real presenters.
But it presented like a real fight, and they followed that through with that change into the Creed movies, where there was a lot of one-shots for entire rounds and stuff. And
then montage all the rounds.
Exactly.
To the final one.
Which at the end of the day, you don't want a movie where you watch 15 fucking rounds of boxing.
Right. This is a dramatization. We're here for the movie.
Exactly. Look, that fight between him and Drago, where they it's a 15-round fight. You watched 3 rounds.
Yes.
But that montage in the middle is glory.
All the glorious slow-mos.
Oh my god.
Have either of you watched the new cut yet?
No, I haven't. I watched the documentary.
I watched him making the cut.
Okay, so I saw it was one of the weirdest things I'd ever watched, where he's in that little room in LA and there's a guy behind him editing it. Stallone's trying to say drop a nice little Rocky speech on the camera, but matey behind is like, I'm fucking working. So that you can hear the audio, and he starts looking behind him but he can't tell him off. He's like, well, he's here to do it. So it was so bizarre to watch. Yeah, it was really weird. But no, I haven't watched the cut, but I know that it fleshes out the fight between Drago and Creed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
it
changes the tone.
It lets Apollo fight him.
Yes, it does. Yeah, because he said it was just. I mean, the film was made to be like a music video. It was just get the beats, so get the feeling across, and so he made it less like a music video and tried to give it more drama, more rocky.
Oh, dude, I'll watch it. I'll get it on 4K now or whatever. But I love it, Matt. That's a great call because Balboa really is a wonderful movie.
Awesome. Well, over to you, Andy, for your number 2.
All right, my second to last one. Moving away from the films and the wrestling to video games. I'm gonna say Doom.
Doom 2016. That was a fantastic game. I loved that game.
Absolutely. And again, when it comes to sort of comebacks, it's like Doom's always done well. It has always done well, but as you'll see, there was sort of maybe a little bit of a dip in there, sort of more about a creative direction.
The only thing I have with Doom is obviously it's Doom for me is more of a. Is it a remake? I don't know. Is it a
reimagining? I guess.
Reimagining rather, because it doesn't follow the same storyline throughout.
It kind of does.
The beats are all there.
All the Doom games follow the same story of the demons being brought in from hell. 2016 fleshed out the more, look, they've got this energy, but they also called it back to the original games and Doom 3 and Doom 64.
It was kind of like the change in him being the Doom Slayer as well was probably the biggest change for the story, I would have thought.
These games are all connected, but it was a nice way for them. Because, like we said, Doom first drops 1993.
Yep.
Comes out with Doom 2, with obviously their add-ons and things like that. Then you have subsequent clones up the ass of all these different games, which kind of saturates the market. That people are like, I like Doom, but then Doom 3 drops, and you're like, this is Doom again, and it's fresh and it's new, and I love it. It's slow.
Yeah, it was that weird creative decision to sort of go another way with Doom 3, obviously making it more survival horror, I guess, was the way that they were sort of going that way. I mean, all the way through, through all the development of all the original games, there was a lot of creative splits, arguments about which way they were going to go and everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the games were always overwhelmingly positively received. I'm literally playing Doom 64 at the minute.
Yeah.
Because I was making the list and I was like, man, I really enjoyed Doom 64, and then I'm sort of playing it and I was like, man, there's a lot of shit wrong with this game that's doing my head in now.
Yeah, I bought it for the Switch just so I've got portable Doom.
Yeah, man, totally. Like I said, on the comeback wise, it's kind of you can fucking talk about the success of it from 1993 through the advancements that they actually made, because obviously id Software made Wolfenstein originally. They created ray casting, which is sort of creating a 3D space with 2D images, but being sort of limited to that basic level structure with basic verticality. They invented a whole new engine so that it calculate vertical 3D space, and then they were like, fuck do we do with this? And they were even looking at platformers or another Wolfenstein, and ended up being inspired by D&D eventually to sort of make it, which is funny because it kind of, all the characters were made by clay animators and stuff, and then scanned, which is amazing. And it kind of runs parallel with a lot of D&D influence, because it was blamed for Columbine shootings and video nasties and all this kind of stuff. A lot of satanic shit in there, which is it's about a game that opens a portal to hell. Of course there is, but okay. So it kind of ran parallel, but none of that, and especially at the height of it, where that could kill stuff, that could bury your IP. Still, managed to do these amazing sales.
And so that's what
probably the most ported game at the time as well. If you think about
multiplayer,
PlayStation, Jaguar, for fuck's sake, N64,
Sega,
everything. You know what I mean?
Nintendo 64.
So, I think that went up to. I think it went up to about 97, and then they did suffer because they couldn't quite compete with things like GoldenEye and Turok. Doom was starting to lose a little bit of its popularity
at that point too.
Well, and that's where id. I always call him ID. Id went back to went to Quake.
Yes,
and they were Quake 2 and 3, and then once they started getting success with that, that's when they started to look into a Doom another Doom, but they wanted to like go back to the drawing board and remake it, and that's where, like you said, 2004 we get that reimagining of Doom 3, which is way more survival horror orientated, way darker. You know, you talk about a game where you have to switch between a flashlight and a gun.
Yeah.
You know,
until you
Man,
mod
when
it.
when they added the mod, that was like the biggest thing in fucking gaming.
It was interesting as well, the fact that it's like, oh, there's a shoulder mounted thing now, and a lot of people were like, thank God, and a lot of people were like, no, that's why it was so scary, is why I had to switch. So it's funny to see that divide in the fan base, which is great, but it was a fresh new take. It was a huge graphical jump, like insane.
Oh, absolutely, it was one of those games like Crysis or Far Cry.
Absolutely. Can you run this? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember us playing it on the Xbox, on the 360 and stuff like that, because we absolutely loved it, but it also inspired a movie. Anyway,
inspired.
So they did some expansions. They were like the ultimate versions and stuff like that. So they ended up confirming Doom 4, which basically became Call of Doom. Right. It was a military style shooter where hell was on earth.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like they just couldn't reconcile this as a Doom game. They actually ended up picking up that engine. It became Rage.
Nice.
Which was unfortunately poorly received.
I know, it's such a shame. I mean, I still never played the second one.
I haven't done the
played the second one, and it's a neon nightmare.
The first one was great.
I love the first one too.
Yeah.
Even though its shortcomings.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, it's, so they ended up going back to the drawing board again, and they wanted to go, they realized that like a narrative project sort of like didn't necessarily work, and it was more of like, narrative driving the Doom game.
Yeah.
So at the end of Doom's fun. It's about fucking killing demons with metal music playing, right?
Yeah.
Doom 2016.
Yeah.
Literally, I love a game that you go, start. Oh shit! You are in it. It's just like, go. There's no like, like Doom 3, as much as I love, I think you play that game for about 40 minutes before you pick up a fucking gun. Or even see an enemy. That is a long intro.
But they are two separate
it works
games,
to the game.
Because Doom 3's got very big ambience, but Doom 2016,
absolutely.
When that heavy metal music kicks off, you're in a room of death. And I played that game to death so much that when I went onto the multiplayer, you had to learn fast, and it was just keep moving.
Well, yeah, I loved
shooting, moving.
I loved how frantic it was, even in the single player. It was it's frantic. It's like learn to strafe quickly, but everything that they added into it. I mean, the glory kills are great, bit repetitive, but they're great bit that add to it. Very little dialogue in the story. It was more through
just
audio logs.
It
was enough to get you going, but then if you wanted to deep dive, all the audio logs, all the like other stuff, most of it was like playing in the background, which kind of spawns off of Doom 3 because you have that constant. The big bad is kind of always like talking to you in Doom 3 and stuff like that. The fucking introduction of the Doom Slayer as this like prophecy of hell. I was just like, I'm all over this. This is fucking great. You know,
they did that well.
So the UAC is now harnessing like Argent energy, which is hell energy basically.
Energy. Yeah.
But it really did just become about this frantic gameplay that just really wasn't available in any other first-person shooter.
Unless you were playing online in like Titanfall or Call of Duty, because it was all about running, sliding, shooting, jumping, and moving. So
but I don't necessarily think it was the movement. I think it was more like target prioritization. For example, in the single player is so important, isn't it? Everyone's always sat there like, I got one chainsaw left, and you're fucking getting it. I just need to get through these guys. The weapon upgrade system, which they'd never really done, was like really intuitive and like really easy to follow, so it took me a little while to actually get around to playing Doom 2016, but when I did, I was like, this is way better than it's got any right to be in a way.
Map. I mean, when Gary was just like, I'm making levels on
I spent as much time making maps as I did playing the game.
Get rid of that?
And then obviously, it spawned really quickly. Spawned a sequel. Really, when you think about it, for that size game, in Doom Eternal, which to me just expanded on everything that they did.
It's not as good.
It didn't have Snap Map. It didn't get my purchase.
I mean, it probably isn't as good. But I just see it as a continuation. I love the Marauder.
It is.
I think the Marauders are fantastic. It's them going like. An ever-present, there's a lot of that coming in, like ever-present enemies, like in Resident Evil, Nemesis and everything like that.
With Eternal, they were making it in the middle of a pandemic. They were also trying to make the cost after, obviously, the suffering that Bethesda had with Fallout. So, I don't think it's as good as 2016 because 2016 is more id. where Eternal was more Bethesda.
Yeah, granted, but I don't think you can deny the kind of like the impact that it's had on other. I mean, like, there's a reason that like Halo Infinite's got a grappling hook in it. You know?
Oh, totally. Yeah,
they do much bigger environments. You got to move around.
Yes.
I mean, I really enjoyed Halo Infinite. Bit short for a game that was called Infinite, but
well, isn't it supposed to be endless though?
They've got.
Well, I finished the shit out of that game, dude. I mean, fuck. As soon as you can get a wasp to fly you around, it's like this will be taken care of later on, not a problem. But it was wonderful for such a huge gap. I do feel like 2016 bringing Doom out was kind of like, this is a generation apart where it's kind of like. It's not unrealistic that a lot of people would be like, what
Call
the fuck
of Duties or other mainstream games that are seasonal every year for Doom to go so long and then have such a big comeback and to be such an amazing game
and a success.
Hell yeah. Alright, Ian, I guess your final pick for comeback.
Okay, so you definitely don't think, if you guys can remember what you were doing in 2002, you definitely can't remember what you were doing August 29th, 1994.
I was in school.
Yeah.
I was in secondary. I just started. Would you say August?
August.
I was about to start secondary school.
Yeah.
About to start secondary
I was about a week out of starting secondary school.
So that date is SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Undertaker versus Undertaker match.
What?
At SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Now, the Royal Rumble of that year.
I swear, guys, wrestling's good.
The Undertaker, once again, like we've already just done his Judgment Day return where he's got to come back as a completely new character, but this one is the era where like magic still happened on screen, right? And so you have the Undertaker facing Yokozuna at Royal Rumble, and Yokozuna beating the Undertaker in his match, casket matches. Now, kayfabe, he was going off because he was having back issues,
Collarbone.
And
he broken his collarbone. I remember that.
To rest up, but he gets beaten in the Royal Rumble match. You have like 10 to 15 other superstars come down to the ring to beat on him, to hold him back. They just feed this character that he just is unstoppable and he won't stop, and then they shove him in this casket and they lock him up, and all of a sudden smoke comes out of it and he floats up into heaven. Because
he ascends
into heaven because the power of the Undertaker can never rest in peace.
Sorry to interrupt you, but can I just point out as well, just before that happens, is the Titan, the big screen flashes, and it shows a picture of the casket, which is on the floor, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it shows the Undertaker laying inside the casket, and then it zooms into him, and he gives it the fucking dong, and starts talking to the camera. It is fucking
really
brilliant.
Production. The casket explodes. The spirit of the Undertaker ascends into the heavens. You actually have Marty Jannetty pretending to be the Undertaker.
wasn't it?
Mark Calloway is still in the casket.
Yeah, because they need a guy to go up on the wire.
Figure disappear. Now, this would obviously he's gone off to he's off on injury, but they've got to keep his character going,
right?
And so the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, is.
Who introduced him originally?
Yes,
as part of his
Survivor
Series with Brother Love
is selling the fact that the power of the money of the $1 Million Man has bought the soul of the Undertaker. Now, I don't really remember what I had for tea last Thursday, but I'm telling you right now, 1994, fucking March. May, June, July. I'm like, no, the Undertaker can't be bought for money. No, this is not real. No, you can't do it. And the funny thing is, like, entertainment at that time would buy into this as well. This is why I love wrestling so much, because as much as we like to pretend that it's not happening, major era moments have been shown, on news, in your local corner shop, people in the school playground are talking about this thing.
Because we're pre-internet, really, at this point.
yeah. Sorry. Dry throat.
Choking on my own rage here. Do you know what? Quickly, I'll say as well. Like, I remember watching it at a friend's house because this is at the point as well where it's like I couldn't afford Sky whatever it was on. Do you know what I mean? So he had it recorded on a VHS, I might add, and I went round to his after school to watch it. And I remember he was like sat there. I think his dad might have been there as well. And we're watching this unfold, and it's him and his dad are like, "This is so stupid." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm watching it. A man just died. Show some respect."
That's it.
Like,
Paul Bearer comes down to the ring. SummerSlam. He's got the urn. He's got the power of the Undertaker, and using a simple torch in the urn, they turn the lights off at SummerSlam. The light goes up into the heavens, and we get Undertaker versus Undertaker. Now, at a young age,
he had the big urn as well, didn't he?
Yes,
takes it massive light. He's like,
now, at a young age, you'd never notice the difference, but older you can tell that one is Mark Calloway and the other is a complete imposter who is shorter.
The 3-inch height difference made a huge difference.
That was the best they could do.
The match isn't one of his
best. They look
best.
at each other and he's just like, the fuck.
The match isn't one of his best, but like I said, as comebacks go, you can't seem to get anything better in TV or video games or in movie base, because thousands of people believed this man floated off into the heavens. They believed his soul had come back from the afterlife into this earth.
Still do. I saw it happen.
And then destroyed a fake version of himself to then carry on.
This, you got to appreciate as well. It's like, this is at the height of every wrestler's got a job.
Yeah.
Like, this was gimmick central, where it's
Gimmick
sort of like it's like, he's a wrestler, but he's also a garbage man. It's like, he's a wrestler, but he's also a cop. Or this guy was actually a prisoner. It's like, it's not just like,
Man,
Daniel Bryan. What does he do for a living? He kicks people in the fucking face.
There was a guy who
doesn't exist back there.
There was a guy whose gimmick was he had $1 million.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon's worth like 15 billion.
I always remember the one that used to crack me up, even when I was a kid, when I was really like, you want to hold on to the fact that it's real. Was Repo Man? The guy was smash, and it's like, but he'd turn up and steal people's stuff. Like, one of his storylines was he stole Randy Savage's hat, and I was like, that's not what Repo Men do. Though. It's like they take back property that you've not paid for. He's just stealing shit. He's a burglar. Like,
he was a burglar.
Yeah.
Oh God, I miss it.
There you go. I think you've just come up with a theme for a future podcast.
Wrestling gimmicks.
Alrighty, so we're going on to our combined final pick for comebacks. Yep. Andy, would you like to? I wonder if anybody can guess at home what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's kind of a theme with sort of like the 80s stuff, but Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. The continuation of the Karate Kid from 1984. Part 2 in 86, Part 3 in 89. A continuation in 94 with the next Karate Kid, and then the Karate Kid remake in 2010. Yeah. I find it interesting though, because it was Jaden Smith.
It's not good.
In the remake, and Will Smith is executive producer for the whole of Cobra Kai.
His production studio owns some rights of the Karate Kid.
Yeah, which was originally a YouTube's originals.
YouTube Red and then YouTube Premium Red. Or something.
That's right. Yeah. And they did the first 2 seasons. They did the 3rd season with YouTube, but YouTube had already cancelled doing any of that stuff, and so Netflix picked up season 3, aired it or streamed it, and then full production for season 4, also renewing them for season 5 before they'd even got to work
which
on
has finished
4,
shooting.
Which has finished shooting now.
In December,
so yes, that's right. So for all intents and purposes now, that I think that is then the end of Cobra Kai. They said they've written it for 5 seasons. They know where they want to end it, and my God, this show I thought was going to be a gimmick, 1 season and done. But this is probably, for a very good reason, at the top of our comeback.
This had no right to be this good.
It didn't, did it? Now, what I will say is, I think, because at first I really enjoyed the first season because of all the nostalgia and everything. Like, Mr. Miyagi went off and watched his documentaries, The Real Actor, his story, heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
And then seeing where these actors are today, seeing, flipping it on its head and seeing the Miyagi-verse from Johnny's point of view. And vilifying Daniel's son, and then seeing both the grey areas of both the characters. But for me, what the real the real big difference between Karate Kid Trilogy and Cobra Kai is the comedy. And the fact that the more the series goes on, the more it becomes a cartoon, where I'm like, I can't take all of these kids doing karate in the school corridors. I'm like, it just doesn't happen in any school anywhere. Not karate, you know. But it's the comedy and the fact that it is so far removed from reality, but it still has those tenuous links to keep you tied to it, that it makes it so much fun, so engaging.
Again, it's another example of doing nostalgia right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's a somehow subtle yet in your face nostalgia, because there's just callback lines to everything. You know, you can deep dive on all of it. It does help that the creators are self-professed absolute super fans.
Yes.
Of the originals. Do you know what I mean? Because it's funny you mentioned Rocky, because it was the same director who did Rocky 1 and 5, who did all of the Karate Kids and stuff.
That's right.
And that's actually where the original Karate Kids got all their music from.
Yes.
So all of their music was rejected
from
songs
Rocky,
from various
Yes.
Rocky
Are you
movies.
telling me you're the best around?
Yes,
Was
it
made
that
for
was
Rocky.
Rocky 3 or 4.
Yeah, Glory of Love.
Yes.
Glory of Love was as well, and
Like a
what's the one
knight
Robert?
shining
Yeah, what's the one that Robert Thingy did for 4? One of the montage songs.
Oh,
But and Johnny,
in the car, where he's in the car.
Johnny runs to it in the last season.
Maybe we can date inside.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It's just gone.
Look at they reference Rocky all the time.
There's no easy way out.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man, I like when Cobra Kai dropped. You were telling me to watch it. I couldn't watch it because it was subscription to YouTube, and I didn't want to sign up for it. And then all of a sudden, it was free, and then second series was free, and then Netflix was on it, and I binged the first season. I just fell in love with it, and I've always had a love for Karate Kid for its just simplicity of like how old I was watching TV films at that point that I enjoyed. You know, and
we all were crane kicking each other on
Oh,
the playground.
totally.
I was doing karate at the time of
Same.
watching those movies.
Same,
I got to my black belt at the time. So it was like there weren't many movies with martial arts with kids in.
with kids in.
essentially.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
believable, and that was because of the Miyagi character and his portrayal of that character. Grounded it, made it real, made it believable.
Yeah, but
even like I believe the mysticisms coming from this old man who didn't know a thing about martial arts in real life.
But that's it. He started telling me, Andy started telling me when I was trying to watch season 1, he's like, dude, don't you realise that Johnny's the good guy? I'm like, fuck off, Johnny's the bad guy. He's like, no, go back and rewatch it. So no, rewatch it. And you're rewatching Miyagi beating up a bunch of kids at night. You're watching you're watching Daniel using an illegal kick at the end of the movie. So when Johnny is waking up drunk in the first season, you
Johnny
get
also
it.
cheated
You're like-
in that fight.
Yeah.
Johnny was also a bully in the school, so they're all to blame for each other.
That's
you
it.
know?
But it's interesting because basically what it does is it turned Johnny Lawrence into a three-dimensional character.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Which was the best part about it. I loved in the originals is like, and again it ties into Rocky, is that because I loved the Rocky films as a kid, is same directors, you can tell, because all the Karate Kids do the same as Rocky, where it starts with the end in the beginning. So like Karate Kid 1 at the start of number 2, it's the end of the All Valley Championship,
and then the fight in the car park
which
outside.
was originally going to be the end of the first movie, and then when you pick up in 3, it's them coming back from Okinawa, but you get to see the fight between him and Chosen. And in the same way in Rocky, where it always starts with the end of the last
this
one.
is it. The three of us have obviously picked out. What was it we were saying before? We wanted Silver to come back, and he's come back.
This last season was so good.
You know,
they need to bring back Hilary Swank.
Yeah, we even said
they've reached out to her.
There's a nod.
There's so many nods. There's a nod to the animated series.
Yes,
which is not canon, thank Christ, because that was fucking stupid.
Yeah,
that's where they were traveling to try and retrieve the artifact and stuff, which was magical. But if you in a scene where they go into the dojo, the artifact is there.
Yeah. Wow.
There's so many nods. Do you know what was really funny? I only found out this recently as well. Is Terry Silver, Thomas Ian Griffith, who plays Terry Silver,
yeah,
was born on the 18th of March 1962. So he's 59 years old.
Yeah.
Ralph Macchio was born on the 4th of the 11th, 1961. He's 60 years old. So when you watch them, especially in 3, and like Terry Silver's training him in the back garden, it's like,
He's older than
you're
you.
like 4 months younger than him. Like, what the fuck?
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't know that until recently.
That's
They
great.
all look so good for their age.
They're all
in that show.
I mean, Ralph Macchio is sort of like aging like fucking Paul Rudd is, like, which is not at all.
It's right.
What's his name? Who plays Johnny? William? Is it? That begins with Z. I can't remember. Sorry.
Johnny Lawrence
is in amazing shape as well, and again, not just like, for a guy his age, like, no, he's just in good shape, dude. So everyone looks great. Even when they go and visit the old Cobra Kai gang, everyone looks well and everything.
That was a great episode.
It was one of that was so. I mean, again, the nostalgia thing, the famous line from Bobby of like, you're gonna need a body bag, and then he dies, and the last thing you see is him getting zipped into his body bag, and then the fact that the actor died,
passed away. It was
like, wow,
that solidified that episode as just being just heartwarming. Can I just also point out, like, we are 3 grown men talking about a TV series based on a fucking karate series.
The Karate Kid.
Films. The prom episode of Cobra Kai season 4.
3, 4, 4.
It's 4.
Yeah,
the prom episode.
Tori,
no, like Tori, the actress playing Tori is just so fucking brilliant, and at the same time, they kind of need to tone her down, or she is just gonna completely speed past Sam in the next series as like the lead girl. Like, I gotta admit, I'm kind of getting a bit.
I think they're pegging her for it because of the fact that she obviously witnesses the fact that Terry bribed the ref. So I think her story, and the fact that she tries to make amends with Sam in the last series as well, I think they have positioned her, because Sam's already had a fair bit of screen time. The interesting thing with Miguel, with him going off to see his dad, is there's potential that he's not even in season 5, because he's playing Blue Beetle in the DC extended universe. So there might actually be a scheduling thing, which is a shame, because obviously I love that character.
It'd be a shame to not finish that story.
I want his dad to be like, I want it to be obviously like, because she says, we left, and like his grandmother is like, she married a dickhead, like, in Spanish. I want him to be like some cartel guy or something, and that's what I think. But I want him to be played by Jimmy Smits.
Right.
Oh yeah.
God, I think that would be amazing.
Who comes back to partner up with Silver, and he wants to fund the next tournament.
Well, no, the only person that Silver can bring back is, obviously, you got to get Mike Barnes for the last season from Karate Kid 3.
Sure, yeah.
Snake would be a good one. The henchman would be really good, and also was the director's son, which is why he was in that. But the other one is Dutch, who was kind of written off in the first one as, I think, being in rehab or jail or something. So we haven't seen him yet. So Dutch would be a really good one to come back, because I always thought that actor was a real sinister looking motherfucker.
Well, at the same time, I mean, what's his face who got beaten up? He's obviously going to be the big hero. Stingray.
Dude, he's got such a killer line that is such a subtle little dig, as well as when he's arguing with his neighbour. And he says, you're doing your little kung fu. And he turns around and says, it's not kung fu, it's Cobra Kai. And that is, I think, a dig at the 2010 remake where they made it kung fu. It's like, it's not kung fu. It's so good. The Rocky connection as well in the last season, where Johnny's got them all running around flaming tires and shit like that, and Daniel's like, you're gonna get a suit, and he's like, sue me for what? That's lifted straight out of Rocky 5, it's so glorious. It really is.
It really is probably one of the one of the first thing I think of when somebody says comebacks in the media in the last 10 years. Cobra Kai is just, it's beyond all expectations. It is so fun, and it's a show I'm going to miss when it ends.
Do you know what I couldn't find though? I was trying to find this. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like, I was interested in how much they're making this for, because it's hard to find out how much it's made, because obviously it's Netflix, so that's
it's all streaming.
It's subjective as to how much it's made. I mean, the pay for the actors is quite high, so you've got to imagine it's got a fair old budget. Because I always think it looks great, and when you see,
they don't use many sets though.
Do you know what? I was surprised at how many they do.
Really?
Mate, there's a lot of green screen in that. Like those scenes, like when they're fighting each other in the hallways in the school. I've watched some behind the scenes stuff, like when Tori's throwing that big back spin kick and she's like, her fucking leg is up here. there's a dude in a green suit holding her leg up, you know. Which, hey, look, I'm not taking anything away from the actress.
No,
like,
no,
you
but it's
need
like-
to put me on a crane for that to happen, like, you know.
A lot of the time, it's either at the dojo or it's at the Miyagi dojo. You know, there's not really them going.
Oh no,
off
but
to
I'm
do
sorry,
any
like
majors.
locations, but yeah, but I mean sets. What? Yeah, they do. There is a fair amount actually of green screen in it, but
Yeah.
I need to see more behind the scenes stuff of Cobra Kai.
yeah, dude, definitely. I did like I'm just gonna say Johnny Lawrence when he was talking about the when it was pitched to him, is he literally got invited to a lunch with the producers and the writers and stuff, and he was just like, he just sat there all the way through it. It's like going, this isn't actually happening, is it?
It's really
These guys can't be serious.
Yeah.
And he said he left it thinking like, God, that's like, it's almost like getting invited out by like an ex-girlfriend that got away, who says like, let's give it another go after 30 years. Like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, you know,
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I almost hope in my head, I'm kind of like, from the nostalgia thing, is like, look, if they want to write good original material, then great. From the nostalgia thing, I'm almost like, look, we can't go much further, I guess, than sort of like when he pitches, I got a few Cobra Kai I can bring back. It's like, look, let's just get Mike Barnes into it, because I want to see Johnny fight Mike Barnes. That's what I want.
Nice.
And kind of, let's finish it. I would think finish it on 50 episodes would be,
yes, I think that'd be sweet as well.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Johnny's gonna go to fight Mike Barnes, but Mike Barnes is so fucking badass and has probably been in jail. He's gonna beat Johnny. It's gonna take Johnny and Daniel to take him.
No, I would see him actually beating Daniel up, because Daniel's already beaten him. So I would see it as Johnny Mike Barnes getting his win back against Daniel, and it's Johnny that's got to fight him. I would arguably say I could see Terry Silver bringing Mike Barnes back. Obviously, Robbie is still in with Terry Silver. Mike Barnes kicks 7 shades of shit out of Robbie and hurts him bad, and that's what brings Johnny back to defend him, and that's what reconciles. You've got to reconcile those characters.
Yeah,
because there was a lot. I mean, like,
well, they were reconciled at the end of the series, weren't they? They were
no, not in 4.
Yeah, they were, because he was really upset.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember them
because he goes to his dad and he says to him basically, "Look, I took the other boy underneath my wing, and I saw that
it's a great."
Yeah, they do hug.
And they do hug.
Maybe you're right. Sorry,
But that's still good that maybe he tries to leave Cobra Kai. Barnes beats the crap out of him. They have the throwdown, and Johnny, as he's got Barnes down, Barnes would be like, "I'm Cobra Kai," and Johnny's like.
But don't forget as well, we've got Chosen back, and we've got the plot where obviously Stingray is kind of blaming Kreese for the assault by Terry. So there's a lot that can happen in this season to wrap up, you know.
Well, speaking of wrapping up, I'm going to wrap up this second part of the podcast. But that was an awesome coverage, I think, of some comebacks there.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to take a very quick break. We'll be back momentarily to answer your questions. Don't go anywhere. And thank you everyone for staying tuned in during the break there. We're just about to roll into the third part of the podcast.
Yes.
And so this is just for you guys in the chat right now. If you did want to ask a question, there is a channel point redemption thing in there just so it gets logged, and I will definitely not miss your message if it goes past us in the chat. With that being said, we do have some messages already, which was where we're going to start with.
I didn't write them down.
I've got them. Don't worry, Ian. Don't worry.
He saved me. He saved me. He saved me, everybody.
Okay, so
I love the cursory pat of your pockets there, like they might be here. Like, where's my wallet again? No, you. Okay, you pay.
And welcome back, everybody, to the third and final part of podcast 41, where we are going to be answering your questions. So let's bring up that question list before I completely miss it. Okay, we got our first question, and it's from David Morris.
What up, David Morris?
What up, David?
What's your best film trilogies? Can be from longer series like Toy Story and Indiana Jones. Ooh. So any trilogy that did eventually become
Indiana Jones is just a trilogy. Don't worry about it.
Right. For me, straight off the bat, Alien trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, right there. I mean, Indiana Jones trilogy is great as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Evil Dead trilogy. Those are probably 3 of my top picks right there.
I mean, Toy Story is a brilliant one. To be fair to him as well, I really like the Toy Story trilogy. How to Train Your Dragon as well. I fucking love that series, man.
Back to the Future is a great shout. Great trilogy.
How do you top? I've
not seen any of it, so I'm just like, that's kids' movies. That's for adults to take their kids to go see movies, because I know my brother does.
Seriously,
with my nephews.
Got a good point. Like, as soon as you said best trilogy, and it could be longer, I immediately went for Evil Dead in my head. You know, and then we just hit the top bunch. Yeah, I'd go Evil Dead. I can't think of any more.
The new Spider-Man trilogy is fantastic as well. Actually, I can't really fault those films too much.
I mean, again, longer series. We talked about it a lot, but you know, the Rocky movies.
The Rocky, yeah.
At one point, they were a trilogy.
Godfather, Godfather trilogy.
Godfather trilogy's great.
Yeah,
it's 3. Yeah.
Well, they did that new the new version of 3, which has got extended sequences explaining more of the backstory.
Great, that's what you wanted. More Godfather 3.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you have that one. I'm hoping when I watch it on sort of February night, whenever they drop it, is that Kingsman is a good trilogy.
Yeah.
Because I like those first 2 movies.
The first one I adore. The second one, it's hit and miss in so many places.
It's a lazy sequel. Is probably the best way to put it.
But it was still fun.
Ghostbusters, Ian?
Yeah, great trilogy.
Great quadrilogy. Yeah.
What?
Karate Kid.
Karate
Kid's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never liked the second one. As a kid, I never liked the second one.
What, the second one?
Karate Kid, yeah.
I love the second one.
There was just too much falling in love.
But they countered that by having chosen fucking throw some knives around, It was like he's holding a fucking knife to her throat.
Planet of the Apes, the reboot trilogy is great because it fits in the original movies.
Oh, like Dawn, man.
Yeah,
man, I was going to go.
Serkis's performance in that is pretty fucking incredible, actually.
See, I was going to go super old school and say the Sergio Leone Western trilogy. Like, if you do the first 2 Clint Eastwood movies and then finish with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like, that's like a week's worth of westerns, and it's just. Yeah. And I did see the Wreck trilogy. I mean, Jason's brought up the Wreck trilogy in there. I do like the third one with the wedding, the way it does.
I was going to say that I preferred the fourth one, which was actually on a boat that brought back the girl from the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen past 2.
Okay, yeah. So I thought I didn't. 3 was. The 3 was the odd one out in the trilogy. So for me, it's 1, 2, and 4 is the trilogy, and 3 is the experimental film.
Yeah, got fun.
Cool.
Alrighty, next question is from Tom W.J. Sexton. What show or TV show got you through lockdown? Well, we kind of covered that for the most part at the beginning of the podcast. I'm trying to think maybe if there's any others that we could bring up.
I think I've rewatched Hannibal like 3 times through lockdown because it's my favourite show. I just love that.
I went all through Rick and Morty again, and the latest season came out during lockdown.
Oh, Final Space.
Final Space, yes. Yeah,
that was great. God, that got deep at some points. You were like, this shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I wanted the show to end, but not like that.
Yeah.
Cancelled in the middle of a storyline.
That sucks.
I watched a YouTube video. It's the lead writer, creator for Final Space did, and he was almost in tears, just like, we've been cancelled, but it was an amazing thing that we got to do to tell the story to the point it did. Will we ever come back? No promises. Not now. And it's just like, oh man, but at least he's like stiff upper lip. He's like gonna keep on, gonna go and do other projects now.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, sucks.
Avocado.
Oh, don't that episode where he's like on his own for like 60 years, and then they bring him back, and then. Like, he's back, but then he's like, no one understands. It's like, but he's still got the memory of being alone for like 60 years.
Yeah, I know
like,
that.
Why? Honestly, why are we doing this?
The episode after that was for me in Final Space where I was just like, you not acknowledging that happening anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, the writing here. I was like, I actually stopped watching. I stopped watching because I was like, you're not like, you've just done this amazing thing for this character, and he's back to square one the next episode. I was like, oh,
yeah. It's like we're watching the rest of it. Is like, that's not a child. That's a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, now. but he doesn't act that way ever again.
That's where I realised the writing as well wasn't as good as season 1. Where
season one is special.
Yeah,
season 1. It is. It's wonderful. Although to be fair, I got a point, and I'm pretty sure it's season 2 where Gary has the like fever dream, where like the guy goes to like pick make him like does the commando thing. We need you to come back and do this. When he's like, I got my cookie kids. This wood. Fuck. I go to pieces laughing when he does that shit. I got this wood. Fuck, you know, it's so good.
Next question is from Kenneth Neff.
What up, Kenneth?
Love you guys. Would you guys ever be willing to review the rest of the Friday the 13th sequels? Thank you, guys. Yep.
Yes.
Next question.
It always comes up, but what is it? It's like we always say, it's like 8 movies. And
no, there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
And we've done 2 of them.
We've done 2 of them. There's 12 of them, but we keep aiming to do that. And then we obviously keep aiming to do Nightmare on Elm Street, and then we keep aiming to do the Halloween series.
God, I love Nightmare on Elm Street.
Like, I mean, yes, we'll do Friday the 13th, but come on, Howling was Howling. Like, I didn't get a real chance to talk about Howling. You saw the reviews, but my God, the first movie was amazing. The second movie, I couldn't believe I was rewatching it and recording it and sticking it out on YouTube. The third movie, there was mutant kangaroo werewolf people.
Howling, kangaroo nuns.
Howling 4.
I was watching Mad Max 2, right? I was watching Mad Max 2. Now, do you, the Humongous has 2 guys tied on the front of his car.
Yeah.
Right? That he drives around on. One of them is the guy from Howling 3.
Yeah.
I was just like, Howling 4, 5, 6 and 7, those 4 movies, I could have just died. I honestly...
I think we did partly.
Like,
I've never seen past 4.
Man, you're like 7 is...
4 was my... Okay.
Is 7 even a film?
Is it? Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. So, yes, we will definitely do Friday.
We definitely will do. It's a matter of when, really. They will happen, hopefully, in the next...
Decade.
They're not a priority for us, unfortunately, right now, unless somebody makes it.
Yes.
Next question is from Nick Lucy.
Nick.
What up, Nick?
I wanted to get opinions on the Hitman game, not film franchise. Have you played it, enjoyed it, etc.? I know we've talked about the Hitman games before. I think they are fantastic games. They're not for me. I don't like playing them at all. I don't like the stealth mechanics. But what I can appreciate is the various ways you can go about all of your assignments.
I was going to ask, have you played it since it went sort of episodic?
No, but again, I tuned in and watched a few Twitch streamers playing it, and
that's what I did because
it doesn't hold my attention
was
for
the last
long.
one I played.
But
played out as afraid, like Blood Money. I loved absolutely. I mean, I played the originals like Silent Assassin stuff like that, but loved Blood Money. Like I really loved Blood Money.
Yeah,
like it was
awesome.
really great. I remember playing that on the 360 and falling in love with it. Absolution was a great sort of like I think evolution of it, but yeah, I haven't. They've just dropped 3 on Game Pass, haven't they? They dropped Hitman 3 on Game Pass.
I couldn't tell you if it had a window.
But they're still I think promoting their episodes with the online.
Yeah, so I really like the fact that it's gone episodic because, and I am going to play it at some point because it's episodic. They could make it so much bigger. They can be like, look, we need to just concentrate on dropping one environment at once because, I mean, even I remember we were playing Absolution when it was back and forth trying to beat each other's scores and stuff on certain assassinations and that, but yeah, I think it's great, but personally, as much as I haven't played the episodic ones, I can't see it beating Blood Money. It was just so good.
When they dropped the movie with Timothy Olyphant, that's when I felt.
Was that the second?
That's
the first one. Oh wow!
The second one was some fucking dude from Russia or something. I didn't even know who he was.
But I'd always liked the stealth element of Hitman. I just couldn't get around the whole level mechanic. And it wasn't until Blood Money simplified it, which is like, look, use this here, do this there, you get the perfect score. And then when it became the episode, to be able to put that much time trying to get the score, like you said, the high score, I couldn't get my interest into it.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? I'm glad it's still around and doing well.
Yeah,
because
there's definitely a market for those sorts of games.
Stealth gameplay is something that could easily disappear, and I don't want it to, because I think the best stealth game I've played in the last like 10 years was Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
because the stealth gameplay in that is just fucking phenomenal. It's like, I mean, the gameplay in it is fucking phenomenal, but I'm not. I think it was better stealth gameplay than Metal Gear 5, personally, because of, like, you know, obviously the way you can interact with the environment.
Yeah.
So it's something that, like, don't get me wrong, I'd be really on board with a Splinter Cell, a new Splinter Cell,
Like that.
Sure.
So, but it's absolutely. It's been rumored for quite some
New
time.
Tenchu, maybe?
New Tenchu would be great. That's what I wanted Ghost of Tsushima to be, which
Yeah.
I've not had a chance to play yet.
It's
but
not.
It's not. I know it's not. It's more. It's closer to Assassin's Creed, I think. But
Yeah.
even like Assassin's Creed, there's not really a lot of stealth gameplay anymore in regards.
It doesn't
to, like,
seem like it now.
No, so I'm glad to have it around, just to keep that genre of gaming alive, to be honest,
Sure.
if anything.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your favourite stealth game in the last 10 years. For me, it's still Alien Isolation. And that's
good
just,
call.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
that's
stealth
great.
from one target the whole game.
Well, that was great because of the way they programmed the alien, where it's like there's a dual hemisphere to its brain.
Yeah.
Half of it knows where you are, and the other half doesn't, which is why it's so intuitive.
So confusing.
So
yeah.
impressive.
And I guess also for stealth games, even though I don't like them very much, Dead by Daylight is kind of that, the killer versus 4 people trying to stealthily move around the map.
Has that got a sequel just come out?
No, it's had lots of expansions.
Oh shit! No, I'm not thinking Dead by Daylight. I know which one I'm thinking of, and it's not that. Sorry.
Anyway, next question is from David Allen Evans.
What up, David?
Nice to see the podcast and make a return. Can't think of anything profound, so I'll have to ask if you guys seen The Lighthouse, The Green Knight, and Dune. I've seen The Lighthouse, not seen The Green Knight, and I've not seen Dune.
Me, I'm the same.
Yeah. I've got Lighthouse set up to watch. I still haven't got around to it. I want to watch Dune, but I already know what's going to happen. So
do you ever get told by people who've seen Dune, "Oh, you've got to go see it in the cinema"? And I'm like, I'm probably not fucking going to. And it's almost become a thing where I kind of feel like
probably should have done.
I probably should have done, because I keep feeling I'm going to miss out on some kind of experience.
On DVD and home cinema is the best cinema.
I'm probably now going to watch the first Dune film just before Dune 2 comes out. I mean, he's gone and said, like, they haven't yet been confirmed Dune 3, and he wants to do 3, so even 2 is not going to complete his story yet. So it's just like, man, I really just want to consume this whole mammoth thing, but it's not going to be done for like 6 years at most.
They kept crossing paths with Star Wars as well, didn't they, on set, which I found really funny.
Yeah.
Green Knight looks really interesting, and is on Amazon. I want to say it's an Amazon original.
I
Actually,
think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that looks good. Dave Patel in it from Slumdog.
That's right.
Yeah. I caught a little bit of it. But
Visually,
do you know what I watched? I was gonna watch it. Do you know what film I watched instead of Green Knight?
I could say absolutely fabulous.
I watched Lamb.
Oh wait,
no,
I think I've seen that. Is that the
you
one
know
with
it,
the
you've
baby?
seen it, yeah?
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Baby Lamb.
It was
I've
the
never
A24 film production.
Yes,
I have
yeah.
never watched a film in my life and said the words, "I don't think I'm high enough to watch this." But I got through it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great flick. That's what triggered it for me. I told you, didn't I? I said don't wiki it. I said watch it. There's a channel that I watch called Found Flicks, who always does a great ending explain.
Yeah.
I said fucking watch that, because it at least cuts in parts of the movie, and I said, you got to see this thing.
Yeah.
You got to see it. And I was like, yeah, watching this. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I'd recommend watching Lamb.
Watch Lamb.
Fucking what the hell? Brilliant film.
Finish answering the question. Lighthouse I have seen, and it was a phenomenal movie. I have ranted and raved about the film, and you'll never look at seagulls the same way again. We all know William Dafoe is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And for me, it was also me giving Robert Pattinson a chance, because I've not really been interested in seeing anything by this actor, even though now he is in one of the most iconic superhero roles of all time, Batman.
Can't wait.
I'm ready for Batman now after seeing how talented he is with Dafoe in Lighthouse. You know, great performances, great cinematography, great filmmaking, great storytelling, a slow burn descent into madness.
Love a risky film.
Yes, absolutely. Lighthouse is definitely a film lover's choice, but I have recommended Lighthouse to those that don't really watch maybe experimental cinema, or don't watch fringe cinema, or films like that, and they cannot get 5 minutes into this film. So it's definitely a big divide, a big hurdle to really enjoy Lighthouse. Say, compare it to Dune or Green Knight, for instance, or Lamb. I think Lamb is a very
watch Lamb
one too.
Everyone should watch Lamb.
Watch that.
Alrighty, we have a question from... Nope, that was it from the end of those questions.
Oh.
So we only now have questions that are coming in on the stream here.
Yeah.
And we've only got one so far.
Okay.
So we need some questions. But the next question is from Richie DBZ, who says, what are your thoughts on Mike Barnes maybe being Miguel's dad?
Wait, what? Is that a theory?
Wait a minute. This is news to me.
As in, dude, did you just make that up? Or like... Oh, now I kind of want it. Oh, shit. No.
How would Mike Barnes end up in Mexico?
Because America is bordered to Mexico. Done.
That would make...
Secret daughter.
I'm trying to work out the age now. Miguel gets born, how old is he? 18?
Yeah, I mean, that works, dude. He's...
So 2000.
Yeah, it works.
Barnes leaves Karate Kid 3 in what?
Don't forget, Terry Silver is technically younger than Daniel Russo that we just found out. So, I mean, if that's a theory...
Mike Barnes, after Karate Kid 3, goes on a massive drug, drink, fucking violent spree, gets transferred to Mexico, ends up in a prison, gets out...
do you know what? Sorry.
Hooks up with Miguel's mum.
I'm not being funny. Can we not have another guy who, after these tournaments, had a downward spiral? You know what I mean? It would be more, it'd be more interesting just bring him back as a dude or something, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think if we bring Mike Barnes back as Miguel's dad, we just jump the shark just so hard. Pretty
much.
I think I just I can't get around that.
You're still with Jimmy Smits, aren't you?
I am. He's great,
great
in
choice.
everything.
Alrighty, we got a question here from Morphined21.
What up?
Ian, this one's directed at you.
Okay.
But you need to keep one and delete the other.
Right.
Terminator 2, Aliens, Jaws 2. So you can only keep one. You got to delete the other two.
What?
Do you keep Terminator 2, Alien 2, or Jaws 2?
Oh, I really like Jaws 2.
Man, how is this a question? How is this?
It's Jaws 2, man.
This
is just a horrible scenario.
This is
That's
super
not
easy
a
for
question.
me. Jaws 2 gone already.
See ya.
Already gone.
Later.
This is the difficult one, but it's also very easy.
Me and you are going to come up with the opposite. I guarantee.
T2 gone. Keep Aliens.
No,
Terminator 1 is the better movie.
No, I'm keeping T2 because I love it
Give
so
me
much.
those Aliens.
Yeah.
I would go
Ian,
because
I would go
I prefer
Aliens.
Alien to Aliens, so that's
okay.
So
the other
it's
way
the
around.
exact same theory,
Yes,
just the other way around.
yeah.
I would go Aliens. I would get rid of the other two.
You kept Aliens.
Keep Aliens.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for the question, Morphine. We got a question here from Jay Hines.
Hey Jay.
What up, Jay?
Thoughts and feelings on upcoming Moon Knight trailer?
Oh yes.
Oscar Isaacs looked interesting. I think he's an interesting actor.
I don't know anything about it.
Do you
Sorry,
know what?
Jay.
I read a handful of Moon Knight comics when I was a kid, and I gotta admit, I can't remember. Moon Knight is going to be one of those movies where in a year's time, everyone's going to be like, I've always been a fan of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut the fuck up.
That's what I did. As soon as I saw the trailer drop, I wikied it, and basically his backstory is the guy was injured in some land while he was like a mercenary working for some force, and he comes across this magical tomb, a bit like Shazam, where the power of Moon Knight is like bestowed upon him.
I'm not even going to lie, I can't.
But his
really
powers
remember.
and his biography is a bit hazy because at some stages he's powered by the types of moon you get, and other times he's not.
I'm excited for it because A, it's a Marvel movie.
He beats people
Oh,
up.
okay.
B, it's I'm excited for it because it's kind of like it's an introduction of a single character, and we're not doing a load of people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm still burned by Eternals.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully it's 90 fucking minutes. You know.
That's my worry, that it might be another Eternals. You know, and Oscar Isaac has set up
It
for this,
is Marvel,
and
right? It's
Metal
not
Gear
DC,
Solid.
is it? It is Marvel. Yeah.
I don't know anything about this character.
So
or
if this
universe.
gets-
But what I will say is the thingy was great. The trailer I thought was great.
Well, for Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this one out.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Jay. We got a question here from Mama Bucks.
Mama Bucks.
If you can do anything for your birthday this year, what would you do?
Okay, well, just quickly though, we're both turning 40 this year,
We
right?
are.
Oh shit, big ones.
Yeah.
And I haven't done shit for my birthday for the last 2 years because
Well,
of
this is
lockdown
it.
and stuff.
So
Is this Mama Bucks' way of finding out what you want for your birthday this year?
technically, so I've had
Big
an
40.
idea, but yours is first, so I need to know what you're thinking for yours.
Well, there is a rumour because my birthday's 1st of September. I'm not giving you my pin or nothing, but 1st of September. So there is a rumour that WWE are looking to put SummerSlam on
Really?
in the UK again. Now, the last time they did it was in 1992.
Wow.
So 30 years ago.
Wow.
And it was in Wembley Stadium, which that stadium doesn't even exist anymore. It's a new Wembley Stadium now. But they're talking about, I believe the rumours, the Principality in Cardiff. I think we're in London for my birthday this year, based on what my wife books. So I've already told her, like, if it's on, I will be shooting from London. I will be driving from London to Cardiff and going to watch SummerSlam. So that is my plan.
That would be sick.
Obviously, as long as it fucking happens, like, you know. So if it doesn't, I mean, last year when we got back from London, when we got the dog and everything, it was my birthday, and we were remodeling the entire kitchen and the entire bathroom at the same time, like idiots. So I basically I had a party planned because we could do it at the time, and I was just like, house is still a building site, I'm cancelling it, and then we just did nothing. So just like, if nothing big's happening, even though it's my 40th, it's like just let's have a gathering.
Yeah,
because we haven't been able to do it, so let's have a fucking house party,
So
man. I'm a simple creature at the end of the day.
mine's in
House
November.
parties, what are those? Are that where everybody comes to
They're
one
work
place?
events, Gary. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Work events indoors, yeah.
So November for yours. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. So
I already know what I'm buying you.
So what are you planning for yours?
I mean, because it's a question, if I could do anything for my birthday, like anything, I'm thinking of something that's not going to happen, like, because it's just not going to. I want to go into space. I want to have my birthday in space.
I want to play 0G football in space.
I just want to sit in a theater. I just want to float there and watch the Alien Trilogy in 4K in space. Just project it out into space.
Space.
Decent.
It's the first thing that popped into my head. Like, yeah.
Well, they want to send people to Mars.
I don't want to go to Mars.
Yeah, but that's in space.
I just want to go into space. I want to come back. Like,
so if you got a ticket to go to Mars, you wouldn't go.
No, it'd take forever to get there and forever to get back.
Yeah, true.
Pretty poor Wi-Fi on Mars as well.
See, this is it. This is why with my birthday I was thinking small, because I didn't know how you guys were planning yours. You want to go to space and you want to go to fucking SummerSlam. So like,
yours, to be fair, yours might be more likely.
Mine, it coincides with the 40th anniversary of the Thing, so I was thinking of having a Thing inspired birthday.
Like, one of us has got COVID, so no one knows who.
Yeah. Somebody get the snow machine. Sorry, Linda.
So you have like little petri dishes that you can have your hors d'oeuvres in as well. And while we play
you need to flamethrower barbecue.
One of these chicken fingers isn't cooked properly, so one of you's gonna get real sick soon.
Everyone's gonna start eating out of their own tins.
There you go.
Thanks for the question, Mama Bugs. Our next question is from Hin Hawkeye.
Hin.
What review are you guys most proud of from 2021?
Howling 7.
Howling 7!
Is that just because you got through watching it? Basically?
You knew it was the last one.
Like, I can't remember many film reviews from.
You were out for 6 months at the end of 2021 reviews, so you missed
the HP
you missed the
Lovecraft
recording
series.
A lot of them, but you did edit almost 85 to 90% of those videos with me and Jess from the first 6 months. For me, the video I'm probably most proud of in 2021 is It is An American Werewolf in London. I've wanted to talk about that film since the moment we did the channel. It was just like, these are the ones we need to talk about. But I had the conversation with Ian back then. It was just like, but I don't want to talk about Dawn of the Dead right now. I barely get my words out in front of the camera. Like, I can't talk about Alien now. I'm like, I'll fuck it up. Our video will be 12 minutes long. So the evolution of us. So waiting as long as we have, we're much more relaxed in our delivery, note taking. We know our back and forth, so I think the videos, the longer we go, each video gets better and better. But on top of An American Werewolf in London, there were probably 2 other film reviews that I did with Jess this year.
Last year.
Last year. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
still doing
we're
that.
still 2020. Time Bandits was, I think, it was the first one of 2021. I think it was the first video that went up.
You guys in Time Bandits, they didn't mention David Warner once.
I did. Right at the end.
Right at the end, like he's all the way through this movie as the evil guy, and I'm like, they're going to talk about him. Doesn't, and then he brings him up right at the end. I was like, man, David. Yeah.
I'm also very proud of the Mandy review and of Color Out of Space review as well.
Oh wow, yeah.
2 great films.
2 great
Loved
films.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I haven't seen was it Ghostland? What's it called?
Ghost of Grassland.
That's it.
Ghost of Nick Cage. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
I only saw it the once. It wasn't my favourite. I preferred the one where he was fighting animatronic robots in a fast food store.
Oh yeah, what's that one called again? Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, fucking great.
That was great. That was fun.
The fact he doesn't talk in it at all as well.
Exactly.
Pig is supposed to be really good.
Pig was great. I love Pig. I can't wait. I mean, we talked about this a year ago in the podcast.
I'll watch Pig if you watch Lamb.
Film where Nick Cage plays Nick Cage. That's hopefully out this year.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Hin. We got a question here from Matt Midgley. Andy, Ian, predictions for the Rumble. As you just told me, it's this weekend. Next weekend.
Winner, I'm assuming.
Yeah, winner for the Rumble.
Predictions for comebacks, surprise appearances.
Okay. I mean, all right. Well, it's a really interesting one. It's interesting to us who like wrestling. The rest of you can tune out for a minute. So, obviously, we got all these other companies, and they seem to be trying to knock down the forbidden door between the companies. So there is a women's Rumble as well. And I think you've got Mickie James is coming in, who is currently the Impact TNA. Women's World Champion.
But she was let go recently.
Oh, in bad circumstances. Well, she was let go as the fact that they returned her belongings in a bin bag.
And she then posted it on Instagram.
Oh, she did, and
everybody jumped on the "We Hate WWE" background.
I gotta admit, I can't. I would probably say I don't think it's going to be Bianca Belair again to win the women's Rumble. I think obviously you'll get a few returns because it's hard for them to fill out that roster.
For the women's, I've got Alexa Bliss for the women's because I reckon she's going to go to WrestleMania for a main event, and whoever she's going to face, whatever, because they need to give her something, or she's going to quit and she might go to AEW, which would definitely boost up AEW's women's division. The men's,
I'm going to say Big E wins it.
Really?
Yeah, I think Big E wins it,
and then heads on to WrestleMania to face. Because Lesnar, I think, might drop it to Lashley.
I don't think he will.
I think Reigns is going to cost Lesnar, and Lesnar is going to cost Reigns against Rollins.
Reigns isn't going to lose until he fights The Rock. I'll tell you that for nothing.
It's going to be Brock and Reigns at WrestleMania. No championships on the line.
Not this year. It won't be.
Oh, you want to?
I don't think so. No, because I think they've literally come out. He's said he can't. They can't get him.
You're going with Big E for winning the Rumble.
I'm trying to think of like a return. At the minute, where's my money, bitch? It's not even necessarily return. I'm more thinking of like, could there be like Cody Rhodes' contract is up, which would be fucking huge, man. Because Cody Rhodes is hugely tied into AEW, which is their biggest rival.
At Rumble. Came out, hit a couple of crossroads, and then still got eliminated.
The other one actually saying about Big E is it'd be great if Woods won it. King Woods won it, so that's all of New Day have got like that title.
If Woods won it, that would be good.
But returns, I'm not sure, man. It's so weird at the minute. I'm trying to think of someone who's like now. Hey, Wyatt could come back. Bray Wyatt could come back. He's not got a contract anywhere.
I haven't heard anything from him for a while.
So, there's that. But do you know what my favourite thing about the Royal Rumble is this year? It's on a fucking Saturday.
Oh, hey!
They finally done it. Well, technically a Sunday. Well, no, it's normally on, say, Monday morning, Sunday night, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So you'd either have to stay up and take a day off of work, or just have a really shit day at work.
That's
Whereas now I can watch it Saturday at whatever it is, 1 a.m. until
stay up or sleep
whenever,
Sunday. Yeah.
Exactly,
That's
and then just chill.
nice.
So the fact that I'm going to get to stay up and do that is magical.
You won't. You're going to fall asleep.
I'll be honest. I don't usually watch. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but occasionally I do tune in for a Royal Rumble.
Rumble's just great because everyone can enjoy the Rumble
because it's over and out. And what I like about it is it's all the main wrestlers on their roster really get to show in. So for me, I get to watch it because I'm looking for a hook. For a character that makes me go, I want to tune in again to see that person perform. But it just hasn't happened. And then the last wrestling event I watched was The Undertaker's final farewell in the arena, which was Niagara Falls, which is
man.
Say what you will about wrestling, like a legacy of that man.
There's
we've
also
still got
a bit
all
with
the NXT guys. NXT.
There's the call-ups there.
Gargano.
Well, Volta might make an appearance.
Came back.
Gargano probably won't because of I think he's pregnant, isn't she? That's why
he's off at the moment.
Yeah, but that's why he's off. I can't. Maybe. I mean, look, it's a Rumble. Yeah, why not come back in for a 2-minute spot or something? But I mean, I'd love to see Keith Lee come back and actually be treated with some fucking respect. There's thingy as well. Like Volta could come back because I know he's moving to NXT, not NXT UK. He's come back to NXT. Yeah, man, that's the beauty of the Rumble. Everyone should watch it. It's fucking fun times, man. It's a good show. It's always a good show.
Yeah. Thanks for the question,
Great
Matt
question.
Mageley did. We got a next question here from Rio Quinn. David saying, please discuss Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's not a question.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Solely.
It was really, really good, and there's so much in there to unpack and talk about, and it was a really joyous cinematic experience.
Same.
I heard all the rumors in advance, and then seeing and then to see it taken all those steps further with the amount of actors, the way that it ties into an extended parallel universes, the whole thing with Doctor Strange. He's one of my favourite characters.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys know how much of a fan I am of Sam Raimi. All of his movies, his work with Bruce Campbell, his work with Spider-Man. It was one of the it was at the time of like the X-Men, and so like superhero movies are kind of like still a bit like not taken seriously as they are as mainstream as today. And so we know about Sam Raimi's hardships on Spider-Man 3. Sony were literally just dictating to him at that point what film they wanted to have made. And so now seeing that, I'm talking around the movie kind of, but it's setting up the next Doctor Strange film, which is being directed by Sam Raimi, who has the connections to the characters that appeared in the Spider-Man film, which is every actor that's appeared in a Spider-Man movie for the last 20 years and further. And so seeing all these Spider-Man boys along with the villains from the 3 franchises coming together, it's like geek gold.
I think because I went to see it opening week, obviously that's where you've got you've got the fans there, if you know what I mean, the people that are desperate to see this movie, don't want it spoiled, because I honestly I went into the movie not knowing if we were gonna get the Spider-Man, even though I was like, they must do, but I hadn't heard it. I'd stayed away from the rumours and everything like that. When they dropped that scene when you see them both, literally the entire cinema started applauding and shouting, and it was wonderful. It was kind of the same with the friend that me and Sandbags went to see it. I think I nearly broke his leg when Daredevil appeared on the screen. I literally grabbed his leg like this. I was like, shit, it was great. The redemption of Andrew Garfield in that movie was possibly my favourite thing.
I still don't like him as Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
him catching thingy when she when she
Mary
fell in
Jane.
that
and he actually catches her
to redeem himself was just was really wonderful. I think he's a great actor.
I
actually,
like him as well. I like him. I just don't like
and
him
you know
as
what I
Spider-Man.
did? I went back and I rewatched them, and I was like, well, no, it's fine because again I rewatched them and I was like, I've still probably got the same issues with these movies that I had when I first watched them, but I don't know, his performance now just, or maybe it softened me to it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I watched Spider-Man 2 and I'm like, God, the villains in this are shit.
Yeah,
but you can't fucking change that. Like even when they brought Electro in, I love the fact that they debuted Electro and he's blue, and I was like, thank God I've seen a trailer and I know that's not gonna fucking last.
Right.
And he pops into like good looking Electro. I was like, lovely, I like it. Yeah, it was. It's one of my top Marvel movies out of all of it, to be honest.
Yeah. It was,
and interesting that it's a fucking 2.5 hour movie that doesn't seem it compared to Eternals.
Eternals. I hate that film so much. It was.
Sorry, I'm just gonna put as well with it. I did not expect Aunt May
Spoilers.
to fucking really.
It's alright.
If you've not seen this,
You can say it. I'm just putting it in the audience.
If you watch any of our YouTube videos, and Ian will go spoilers, and then they die.
Yeah.
And so by the time Ian said spoilers,
We already know what it is.
They're dead.
Aunt May dies. But it comes kind of out of nowhere, and it basically because we've never seen the Tom Holland origin of Spider-Man, which I like because we don't fucking need it. He's like, ever
Uncle
since
Ben.
that spider bit me, that's enough.
Yeah,
we get it.
Yes.
In the same way of like Batman is like, ever since my parents were shot in an alleyway, good, done. We know it. Thank you. Move on. You've never had the with great power comes great responsibility speech, which they give to her.
Important.
No one's called Uncle Ben in the Tom Holland universe. They never mention an Uncle Ben, which is great.
Think that when
I think it's Miguel's dad, but it's I think they're brothers.
Clone daughter.
Secret clone daughter. So I loved what they gave to Marissa Tomei in that in the thing. I've just realised that. Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier. Like I'm just going to go completely off topic, but Cobra Kai season 4, when they bring in Daniel's cousin, and she's a child psychologist who's played by Daniel's real life daughter, Ralph Macchio's real life daughter.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, I did see it in the credits.
But the reference when his wife says, "Are we really going to listen to Marissa Tomei Jr.?" and that speech that she gives is the same kind of speech that Marissa Tomei gives in the doc in My Cousin Vinny.
Wow.
Which Ralph Macchio was in, and I was just like, oh, that was so good. Yeah, it's all connected. Shared universe, motherfucker.
Multiverse. Multiverse.
Just to
and
finish,
I would say about Doctor Strange as well. I think that Doctor Strange is being almost set up to be the new Tony Stark of the Marvel universe.
Yes, I think so.
Including the What If storyline they did, which that one was
absolutely.
the best one.
It was. Great story.
Which is clearly coming into the next movie as well.
It
was all kinds of wonderful, that movie.
There's a lot of talk right now going around. I mean, Bruce Campbell's joking about it, how Sam Raimi's joking about how he's secretly using Doctor Strange to make a backdoor Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, let's find out. I'm really excited for
I want to watch Backdoor Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man boys.
I'll sort you out. Last extended from Rio Quinn's question. Favourite Spider-Man movie? All the Spider-Man movies now.
Probably that last one, to be honest.
There's 8 movies now, isn't there?
Yeah.
The animated Spider-Man film, I think, was really good.
Oh, Spider-Verse. Sorry,
Spider-Verse was really good.
Probably still the best one.
But in terms of live action, I think, honestly, I preferred the Jake Gyllenhaal Spider-Man, the second one,
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I think that one was my favourite because
they missed a trick not naming this one Work From Home.
Just because it was really funny. I honestly thought it didn't need billions of characters and to pull on all of your nostalgia. It was a really good drama comedy action film that really also felt like a bookend to the whole of the Avengers saga. That for me was one of the endings for me.
They kind of used the same tactic for the Jake Gyllenhaal Mysterio, where it becomes he's actually this guy who is like working with Tony Stark and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same thing they did in Iron Man 3 with the Mandalorian.
It is,
yet somehow better.
Yes,
you
yeah,
know,
they worked it right.
You know, even I fucking love me some what's his name who played the Mandalorian, Ben help.
Well, from Game of Thrones?
Ben Kingsley, yeah.
Right.
I love me some Trevor Slattery, you know, especially when he shows up with Shang-Chi again and everything like that. But yeah, I think it was they kind of used the same trick, but yeah, it did come off a lot better. I'd probably say I would normally say Into the Spider-Verse is my favourite, but I think this new one did overtake it actually.
Yeah.
You can say Spider-Man 1.
I was going to say Spider-Man 2 actually.
From the original. Of those three, that's the best one.
Because like I really like this new one because just it incorporated every single Spider-Man movie, which I've always wanted to. You know, it's like what we were saying about
spawned the best game as well.
Film companies ignoring certain movies. This is now Marvel going, look, they all exist, but in different universes. You're like, yeah. And looking back, like, is it Alfred Molina playing Doc? Like, he was just really classical actor who, coming off the back of William Dafoe, kind of brought Spider-Man 2 back down to earth.
I liked him in Species.
Spider-Man 3, yeah, I tried watching that one again. It's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, Electro's origin.
Hard to pick a winner there.
Just, no. Yeah.
Thank you for your questions, Rio Quinn. We got a question now from Y2John84.
Y2.
What up,
John?
Desert Island Discs. You get to take one movie each. What do you take?
The Thing. Done.
I mean, are we kind of going on the premise that we're potentially going to have that and only that forever?
I guess, yeah.
Porn. I'm taking porn.
Is that the title of the film as well?
Whatever you want. No, it's Backdoor Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man Boys 4. Backdoor Spider-Man
Organic
Boys.
web shooting.
Oh man, when they cover that as well.
Yeah, I know.
When they answer that question, I was sat there like, finally, someone had the guts to ask.
Like, they brought up the spider webbing and all that. We're not on a desert island together.
Does it only come out of your wrist?
It's my own.
What's Desert Island movie? How about Flight of the Phoenix, right? That's how you build a plane to fly your ass back out of there.
That's the way.
Mine would be an instructional film on how to live on a desert island, I suppose.
Alive, Lord of the Flies.
Was that new Shyamalan one? Old as well?
Old, actually, so just get it over with.
Yeah.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'd bring Jack and Jill because that way I'd be like, Gary, I need you to do this. I'm not fucking doing that. I'll put this movie on.
Okay.
Oh God.
For me, I don't know. It's really hard. I guess I go with my sick movie, the movie that's like nearly like 5 hours long. I'd go with Dances with Wolves.
Nice.
Oh,
just because it's super epic and I'll never get tired of it.
I just recently got a chance to watch Tenet. So I'm gonna need to watch that about 9 more times. So that's probably a good one.
Don't. I know it's not that good.
It was all right, but I finished it and was kind of like, huh.
I was so.
It's such a Christopher Nolan film. It's like it's the fact that all of his movies. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm a fan, but all of his movies look the same, sound the same. Even, the font's the fucking same. Like he doesn't even change the font.
It was the same. Sounds.
Oh man, do you know what? That's the one thing. Watching it. Donna got me the 4K for Christmas, and I'm sat there with my remote, fucking with the volume throughout the entire movie.
I love Hans Zimmer's music, but yeah, sometimes it's just trailer bait music throughout the film. You're like, oh my god.
I was literally just like, fucking turn that down. Now I can't hear you. Like it was doing mad.
I thought Tenet was terrible, just in terms of characters, character development, storytelling.
Okay,
it was slick and polished, but.
It needs another watch at least. Because now I know it'll piss him off. So.
Stop watching Tenet.
We're not on
I don't understand it yet, Gary. Are they forward? Are they going back? I just don't know.
It doesn't matter anyway.
He's sucking bullets out the air.
They should have filmed it in space.
That's where it should be right now.
Cheers for your question, Y2.
Yeah, good question, man.
We got a question here from Mongo from Mitch.
Mongo!
World is coming to an end in 24 hours. What do you do?
My wife, over and over again. Simple.
Honest answer.
Where's your daughter and all this?
She's got an Xbox in her room. She doesn't need to know the world is ending. I'm going to tell her the world's ending in 24 hours.
How do I top that one?
Yeah.
As long as it's not with my wife, I don't care.
Yeah,
Because of your wife too, yeah.
So I'm finally going to film these final Friday the 13th sequels.
Quickly, yeah, we get them edited, uploaded, and...
Hey, it's really good, and the rest is shit.
Jeez, I mean, I've watched plenty of movies where people deal with the fact that the world's ending in 24 hours, and what do? And some people walk around trying to find somebody just to talk to. Some people go to sex parties. Some people get completely intoxicated.
If you literally start a counter from 24 hours, 1 hour in, I'm down 2 litres of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I'll probably be passed out.
I've got a few bottles of Johnny Walker Blue that I've saved and stuff, and I'll be like, oh, you and me, pal.
But I do want to front row seat
this,
to whatever's coming. Like, where's the impact site? Where's it coming from? I want to be there. I just want to be in the first blast.
That's a good show.
See, like,
start recanting and sort of like following every religion known to man, just in case.
I'm also taking along my Necronomicon, my Black Book.
Benny in fucking The Mummy, where he's got every Jewish Christian. No, that won't work for you.
Yeah. Star David, Pentagram.
What are you doing
here?
You're
watching the thing.
So the first 12 hours is him trying to figure out what he's going to do.
That's it. I was listening to you guys and I was thinking about all the crazy shit that like somebody would do, but then obviously instantly you want to go back and be with the family. So then I'd go back and obviously I'd go to Linda and be like, what are we doing? And she'd be like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Well, they're mass looting and raping and killing me out there.
Sounds like
join in or defend.
It's turned into the Purge before the end.
Kind of go do something.
Are we down with that, or are we locking the door?
Like fuel raiders. Like do we want to eat the neighbours? What do you want to do? I don't know. And then you just kind of go from there, depending on obviously what is happening in the world. Like I always did have the idea, like if a tsunami came, like, would it be wise to tie yourself to something or just let the water take you? Like if you're tied,
depends how big of a fear of drowning you have.
Well, you're gonna die instant. You're gonna die of the drowning, right? But
that ain't instant. That's what I'm saying, dude.
Tie yourself up to something so that you can kind of stay in one piece, or do you exactly like if the world is ending in 24 hours and it's gonna be a massive, huge fucking radiation wave from the sun? Sorry to take this too far, people, but you asked. Like
Ian's answer is he's gonna do nothing because he's gonna be sat there. Planning out, still telling everyone about his fucking afterlife theory.
or watching the thing.
No, I need to get this out there still. People need to know.
Man. Fucking, yeah. Yeah, I'll watch Ghostbusters 2016.
Not that bad in retrospect.
What a way to go out on Ian. Thank you for your question, Mongo Mitch.
Thanks, man.
And that, unfortunately, was the last question for the podcast. So with that, I just want to say a massive thank you to Ian and Andy for making this podcast absolutely amazing.
Great to be back, guys. Lovely to speak to everyone.
All of you guys in the chat as well, hanging out for the podcast, for the live recording. We will be back next month. Haven't got a theme for it yet, although we haven't done a best of 2020
2022 lockdown.
Well, we still got to aim for that one, but we have a podcast aimed, and then we will obviously drop links in the Discord and promote it on the Facebook page and think of a theme and then try to get everything planned and all the audio recording working and the notes and the best of 2022.
What, in February?
No, 2021. Oh, right. Yeah, you're doing the date same as me. It's 2020 continued. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.
Peace, bubs.
That was the end of the recording of the podcast, and so now I'll also just again say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat. I'm just gonna something I don't always do. I just want to quickly scroll back as far as I can, just for any of the things. Sammy D89, thank you for the follow. JKMTA, thank you for the follow, much appreciated, and welcome on in. Mr. Will Guitar gifted out 5 gift subs tonight.
What up, Will?
Unfortunately, it's not showing me all the names here, but thank you so much, Mr. Will. And you also resubscribed for 12 months and made it a year today. Thank you so much for that continued support, Mr. Will, and the 5 gift subs. Athictor as well stopped by earlier and resubscribed. Also at 12 months. That's another year
12
today.
months.
Thank you so much, Athictor. That's awesome. Toadfish resubscribed today at tier 1. 11 months, another month shy. Thank you so much, Toadfish. Soul Signal was lurking and listening, loving these casts. Thank you so much, Soul Signal. Resubscribed tier 1 for 16 months. Thank you so much, Sam. Much appreciated, dude. Lickleboo raided the stream early on with 10 viewers. Thank you so much, Lickleboo, for that raid. Much appreciated. No love was taken. Followed 4 hours ago. Thank you so much for that follow. Really do appreciate that. Richie DBZ also resubscribed for 4 months. Thank you so much, Richie. Really do appreciate that. Alrighty then, it is now time though to find somebody to take you guys to and drop you off with a raid. So I'm having a quick look now, and I think I know where we're going to go. We're going to go with someone who usually has boundless, almost seamless energy. He's a funny dude. Right now he is playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh.
We are going to go and say hello, when I find the right button, to Ultra Average Gaming. Let's get that written in there. Is it going to find it? There we are.
There we go.
And that raid is away. So once more, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Have yourselves an awesome weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. All the best now. Bye
Love your
for now.
faces.